This is the Vision 79 podcast, where my friend Sander and myself, Mason, discuss recent developments in our business and personal growth. The name Vision 79 comes from our respective racing numbers. Sanders is 40, mine is 39, and we have similar ambition to progress in business and personal growth. Many successful people have started small, just like us, but very few of them have documented their early years. They often say they wish they had, and given we believe in learning lessons from others, we intend to be the first to document our journey from start to finish. This is simply a documentary of our lives, and as such, we do not monetize these videos, so enjoy the ad-free content. Today, we'll discuss our life updates, our business updates, and lastly, the lessons we've learned over the past week. It's still a new podcast format, so bear with us. But what is your life update this week?
My life update is pretty much just work related, like
Nice.
work related. We're starting with life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Did you listen to my intro?
I did, yeah. No, I just got confused because I thought we started with business.
Well, usually in the past, we would start with business and then do life and then do a topic. But now we're doing life and then business and then
I,
lessons that we've
I
learned through the week. That's
all
okay.
good. I still got life stuff, but um, yeah. Outside of like either business work or regular work, I didn't really do much life stuff this week. But work was atrocious.
Okay.
Work's terrible. Just it's so interesting to me because you have so many people on the program and they somehow find a way to all work against each other in a way that looks incredibly productive, like they're doing stuff. Like I'm
The
gonna do
government.
this thing, I'm gonna implement something, and then someone else is like, I'm gonna implement this, and then like every single person does that, and every single thing manages to not help the other thing,
Yeah.
and it just like it's such a like for example, I had Wednesday off. I took Wednesday off, um, and I still had 54 hours on my time card, and that was with a
Jesus.
whole day off.
Jesus.
Um, and because I was working like 12, 14-hour shifts for all of the other days. And, all I was doing was this paint job. There are these little straps that come down. They're grounding straps
Okay.
and they go inside. It's not proprietary, so I can talk about it, but it, it goes from the actuator down and then it grounds to the actual body of the aft skirt. And it's just like, it's for like static electricity. They're bonding straps.
Gotcha.
And you mount those straps, and then to mount them, you first have to sand off the paint that's there,
Mhm.
just with a little brush, like wire wheel, whatever.
Mhm.
And then you mount the straps, and then you coat it, you primer it, and then you paint it in
Mhm.
order to prevent corrosion. Um, and so that job, there was two sides to do, and then there's two um like actuators to do on each side. So
Okay.
like four kind of general locations. And it's like this job should have been like 2 days.
Mhm.
Like, it should have been get in there, sand the paint off the first day, prep all the surfaces, and then the second day could have just been, like, the coating on first shift in the morning, and then primer and paint in the evening. Like,
Okay.
the set times are, like, only it was 4 hours after the coating and only 2 hours after primer, so the set times are short, so it's, like, really not hard
You
to
can
get this
crank it
done
out
in
in
2
a day.
days. It took
Yeah.
5 long days to get this done.
Why did it take so long?
Because for so many reasons. There was and I was trying to work it because I didn't want to have to work this like into Friday evening, which
Right.
I ended up having to. But um
So you're not the one with the wire wheel or the paint sprayer, like actually
no,
doing
I'm
it.
just the guy with the work order.
You have to get the people with the tools
Yeah, and the
first.
people with the tools were actually good. Like I had good technicians.
Okay.
The real problem was like quality always finds some little thing that they don't like, or
Mhm.
like, oh man, like this is the primer's like a little bit globby right here, like no, I don't know about this or this or this. And then on top, so then for like any sort of stuff that deviates from the norm, I have to do alterations to the paper,
Mhm.
and then I have no support on second shift to do those alterations, so I have to call people up, and then no one's answering the phone, and then And it's like all these like accumulated problems. And then like I'm trying to get this stuff done, and then the next day they're like, hey, like if a work order needs an alteration in the evening at like 11 p.m., like don't bother doing it because we prefer that NASA second set of eyes your work. And essentially they were like, we prefer that NASA looks at it, and also we don't want to get woken up, so like if you have an issue at like 11 p.m., just like stop the job. And then it's like at the same time then they complain about why things take so long or why there's schedule delays.
Right.
And it's like, and then like first shift quality doesn't want to look at the same thing that second shift quality looked at, because first shift quality wants concurrence from second shift, and then second shift wants concurrence from first shift. And it's like, can we just fucking look at this thing and look at the primer and look at the paint and assess whether this primer and paint is okay to use? This isn't complicated.
Right.
And it was just like, it was infinitely frustrating because like I got called in to the Friday shift, which I did not want to work at all because first shift was incompetent every single day of this week. They got nothing done on first shift at all. They were just like they would get out there and quality would be like, oh, well, like, I don't know. And then they'd just be like, okay, no worries, second shift will deal with that. And then they would just wait for me to come in and deal with that.
Damn.
And it was like that like every single day. And they'd be like, oh, like we tried. And I was like, you didn't try. You didn't try, because I tried and I got something done.
Yeah.
You didn't try.
If you ever leave something for first shift to deal with, will they just punt it back to you in the next evening?
That's exactly what they did this whole week. Because I would try to set them up and I would be like, all the coatings are done. It's ready for primer. And then they'd be like, we couldn't get to primer. Like, had a tough time getting quality. Like bullshit. And then I'd be like, okay. And then I would do all the primer and like go through a bunch of issues, because like second shift quality is like always harder on work than first shift quality, because they have more time to like really like dig into and be like, I don't know about like this like little spot right here, like it's just like it looks a little bit thinner, could you redo it? Right. So like
Redo the whole thing.
well, like they'll be like, can you get back in there? But like to open up that space, it's a confined space. So, it's like you got to sign a bunch of stuff in and then get in there and then paint it. And then it's freaking hot because it's not air conditioned. And the techs are sweating their balls off and they don't want to be there. Right. So it's like a whole bunch of layers for like this like tiny little thing. Right.
Right.
And everything takes longer. And, so like I'd go through this whole process and be like, okay, like primer's all set up. All you guys got to do is paint. That was Friday. And then they got in and they're like, yeah, like we couldn't get quality. And then the quality that we got out here, like it wasn't clear to them, like what was primered and what was not primered. And I was like, I wrote a tie-in email. Like the right side is completely done. The left side is also completely done. The second shift quality was just tweaking out about this one tiny little spot.
Right.
All notated in the email. On top of that, everything is bought up to the point where you can just start the work and then continue from where we stopped. It's not complicated. And then in addition to that, there's an order note in the work order that says the same thing that I just said in the tie-in. Like this, like it's so easy to just do something, right? And so on Friday, I was livid because they hadn't done anything on first shift. So I called up, there's a guy that was helping me on second shift. He was like doing like a split shift. So he was there for like a few hours or so on second shift. And I called him up and I was like, I don't understand why it's so fucking complicated about this. Like the primer is done on the right side. Paint the right side. The left side has the primer done, but quality was tweaking out about it. Have quality look at it. If they like it, paint it.
Right.
It's not complicated. And so, like I was just livid. And so I made that at 2:30. I was done. By the time I got to work at 3:45 for my 4 o'clock shift, they had completed the paint on the right side.
Okay.
So an hour and 15 minutes after my bitch call.
Yeah.
And so like that shows that like it didn't have to be complicated in the first place.
Right.
And it didn't have to be a delay in the first place. And it didn't have to be hard in the first place. Just needed like a little bit of gas under your ass to get fucking something done.
Right.
It was just like,
it's easier to make a phone call, go, well, nothing we can do, and then know that Sandra's going to take care of it when I leave. Because you don't have to talk to first shift, do you? Like when you come in,
most of the time, no. Most of the time.
Right. So they're
supposed to stay past, like I'm supposed to come in like between 3:30 and 4, which is what I do. And they're supposed to stay until 4. And so that window is like our overlap period, right? But they leave at 3. right?
Right.
And so it's like, even if I come in at 3:30, which I was good about, I was coming in between 3:30 and 3:45 every day.
Right.
But like they're just the personnel that were on station to tie me in just weren't there.
Right.
Aside from the second shift guy that was split shifting, but
So from their perspective, they're given a you know, in broad sense, they're given a task and they can either put in effort and complete the task that day and then get brownie points, or they can do a half-ass effort and then pass it off to some guy on second shift that they don't even fucking care about because you never have to talk to him and he's just gonna take care of it.
yeah, I mean, I'll talk to them when I share shifts with them because they're within my group, but like they'll just
Right.
pass it on and then just like throw some excuse over it.
Right.
And it's just frustrating to me because it's like, what really pissed me off too is that morning I got a phone call from my manager and like his manager, and they're like, "Can you support War Room second shift?" War Room's the closure
Yeah.
team,
Yeah.
and they called me up out of bed, so that's like a bad start to getting me to work on a weekend, right?
Right.
They called me up. I just woken up, and then my phone rang,
Right.
and so I pick up the phone and they're like all freaking out because they need war room support and blah blah blah. And they ask me like, "Can you support this weekend for war room?" And I pause on the phone for a solid 10 seconds, just dead silence.
Mm.
And I was like, I would really rather not. I've had an incredibly long week, and I'm very much looking forward to being at home this weekend.
Right.
And so they were understanding of that. And I was like, if you are in an emergency and you absolutely have to have someone there, call me back and I'll try to make it work. But otherwise, I'd really rather not.
Right.
And
Why don't you have some of your guys from first shift who worked the same task as me but didn't get anything done because they're less tired?
yeah,
Right.
yeah, seriously, it's just well, it's all bureaucracy because you have to be on a specific list in order to be able to be assigned a war room.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's only like 2 people in our group that are like have the potential, and the first guy bailed out,
Right.
and so
What is the first guy who bailed out? One of the people
he
who
was
dropped
actually
the ball?
scheduled for it.
The guy scheduled for it who bailed out, the
Yeah.
only other guy who can do it. Was he one of the first shift guys that dropped the ball, or was he just like some other thing?
No, he was a summer ago working different jobs.
You got it. Okay.
But it like that, and then once I got in, I opened my laptop and I had another message from some other manager, and they're like, "Hey, someone's struggling to close this non-conformance because of parts tags. Can you look at it?" And it was a comment from configuration management,
Mhm.
and that's the reason the paper couldn't close. The 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 reason it couldn't close had nothing to do with parts tags. It actually had to do with a logging data issue on the configuration management side for a specific part.
Well, so then that comment goes to the CM team, not you.
Oh
CM
yeah,
team-
so I wrote back.
Right. You're
I
like,
was
I'm
like,
not the guy to
This
fix
has,
this. I'm
I
not
was
on the
like, this
CM
has
team.
nothing to do with parts tags.
Right.
This is an issue on the configuration management side. If
Right.
they don't like how how this part number is formatted within the data collection, that's
Right.
not my problem because I don't dictate that. When I input a general part number, everything else gets autofilled.
Right.
And that autofill I can't change. If they don't like how it's autofilling, then they need to change that because there's
Right.
nothing I can do. Even if I tried to change this right now in order to get this paper to close, it wouldn't work because there is nothing I can change.
Right. Right.
And so I wrote them this whole thing, and I was like, and then in addition to that, I don't even understand why configuration management is looking at this for closure because the thing that they were wondering about was cloth, the rag you used to wipe the surface you were going to work on. That's what they were looking at.
For grounding straps or something else?
This was an
Something
older
else.
work order,
Got it.
but it's like that rag.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing about that rag that needs to be tracked beyond just I used a rag.
Is this on an exterior surface thing or like a mating surface or something?
Um, this
'Cause
was
I-
on
I
this was on it was on a surface where you install a bolt. You install the bolt for this big bolt and nut for the actuator pinning,
Right.
and so that surface you just wiped it clean. But
They
like that,
probably just don't want a rag that like leaves residue or fibers or anything like that, which I get. But at the same time,
But that's-
if it's your part cataloging system, you deal with it, not me.
right, and I agree with you, but that's why we logged the rag originally. What they were having an issue with was that we have part numbers of different things,
Right.
and then we have things that are lot controlled and serial number controlled.
Okay.
And what that means is that let's say you have a steel nut,
Mm-hmm.
and that nut is just general stock. That could be just a part number for a given nut. Now, if that metal is a unique metal, it'll be lot controlled because it could be lot controlled because it comes in batches.
Mhm.
The company that makes it makes one batch in August. They name that lot number 1.
Right.
And then they make another batch in September. That's lot number 2.
Okay.
Right. And so they continue that. The reason that that stuff's lot controlled is maybe it's a little bit more important to see into what was used where, because it's a specially manufactured part. So if you have an issue with one lot, you know where all the lots went, so you can
Right.
replace those, right?
Right.
With a rag, it's not lot or serial controlled, because as long as it's clean, who cares?
Right.
Right? Like it's not flight, it's not going anywhere. You're just using it to wipe something, right? So as
Right.
long as it's a clean rag.
Right.
And so they were having an issue and with the fact that this rag it didn't have a lot or serial number.
Mhm.
It had another number that tied it to something called a next higher assembly. And the next higher assembly is like the broad strokes overview of
Right.
like what the assembly of the rocket looks like in terms of what was used,
Right.
right? And so this rag had a next higher assembly number, but it didn't link to anything on the next higher assembly because it's a rag,
Yeah.
right? And so they rejected the paper because they said this rag shouldn't have a next higher assembly number because there's nothing on the rocket that requires a rag to be there, right? And I was
Right.
like, I completely agree with you. Also not my problem because
Yeah.
I didn't put that number into this rag,
Right.
right? That was autofilled by the system.
Right.
If
By
you look
the
at the system,
CDM team.
you are configuration management,
Right.
you figure that out,
Right.
right?
That's
And so
a CDM tool.
it was like that on top of the worm request, on top of getting text message that I had to come in for a second shift on a Friday because first shift managed to do nothing for the 5th day in a row. Like all of those, I was
Right.
like, I am so fed up with the lack of competence that I have to work with on daily
Do you
basis.
prefer working second shifts to first shifts?
I do because
Okay.
despite the fact that I hate dealing with this so much,
Mhm.
it's the exact same story on first shift, but I have to deal with more people that fit the same box.
Right.
And so it's like, at least on second shift, I can avoid all of the management meetings
Right.
and I can get out of all of that. And I have less people like in my vicinity.
Right.
So it's like, it's still like all the same problems, but just like a little bit more relief on that.
Right. Right.
So
I was thinking if you didn't prefer it, you could probably leverage.
no, I despise first shift. They make you attend like, I think my team lead has like 6 meetings a day for like
For the team?
completely different, not even team related. It's like
Huh.
this team is going to be doing some work in the VAB. We wanted to notify you through a 2-hour meeting that this work will be happening,
Damn.
and you are required to attend because you need to be informed about the work that is happening, despite the fact that it has nothing to do with the team or nothing that you're working on.
Weird.
Like we'll get Teams meetings for Orion processing, for like capsule processing,
Why?
which is in a different building on the other side of campus,
Irrelevant to what you.
irrelevant to what we're doing,
Right.
because by like the schedule flow, the sooner that Orion gets finished, the sooner it gets into the VAB, and then the sooner it affects our processing. And so to inform us about the stages of where Orion is at and
Right.
what its processing is, there are these tons of required meetings
Right.
in order to talk about. So I'm not attending any of that crap. None of it.
It's funny because we have a new vice president for our like program, and he had an all hands meeting like not too long ago, a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
and one of his things was if you are in a meeting that doesn't impact the work you do or that you can't contribute to, leave. And anybody running the meeting, don't fucking ask questions. Like, don't say you should be here for X, Y, and Z if they don't actually need to be here. If someone isn't there to present or isn't there to learn and improve the quality of their work, leave the meeting. Get rid of the bureaucratic shit. And most of the meetings that I sit
That's
in,
how Hermosi runs it.
Yeah.
That's how Elon runs it.
yeah, most of the meetings that I have to sit in, like, isn't a big, like, it's not a big deal. Actually, I read that in an Elon tweet. And then
Yeah.
when he said it on stage, I was like, oh, he reads Elon's tweets. It's fun. But most of the meetings I sit in on, it's like my whole job is kind of just knowing what different teams are doing. So even if I can't contribute, every meeting kind of like informs me a little bit. But there was one meeting where we were going over slides that I helped build and I wasn't presenting at. So I was like, oh, cool. I can leverage this function that he gave me last week and I can leave this meeting because I'm not presenting and it's not giving me any new information because I'm the one who wrote all these slides with the team like 2 months ago. So I was able to leave. Um, but yeah, that's a bummer, dude.
Yeah, it was just like that was incredibly frustrating. And it's just like it it's just it sucks because on one hand, like I could just like completely not care,
Mm.
which I have done in the past. And like but I've gotten to a point where I have a relationship with like the second shift technicians
Mhm.
to where like I don't feel bad like from a company standpoint about just like coasting through the shift because that's what everyone else is doing,
Right.
right? But I do feel bad from like I want to ensure that the second shift techs like actually have a semi decent shift,
Right.
right? And so from that standpoint, I'm like I want to follow through because I at least want like their experience to be like as good as it can be,
Right.
right? And so, like, I try to help them out and try to do alterations and, like, try to get some like, if we need something, like a part or something, like, I'll run the warehouse and get it for them and stuff like that. Like, I try to do that stuff because it's like, nothing about, like, the program incentivizes me to do this,
Right.
but, like, my relationship with the second shift technicians does.
Right.
And so it's like, it's like that's what's made it hard this week was, like, I kept bringing these guys back to this stupid painting job for the 5th day in a row.
Right.
And it was like and they're like, "How is this painting not done?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know how it's not done."
you're both stuck in the shit situation, and if you sit idly, that negatively impacts other people. And first shift doesn't mind doing that because they don't have that same relationship, so they don't care if their lack of work negatively impacts other people.
Yeah.
But you know,
And there's
I
so
would
many
say that
more
you're more
technicians on
compassionate.
first shift that just rotate out. On second shift, like, you'll get it assigned, like, the same techs over and over
Mm.
because there's a lot less. And so, like,
Right. So
the
you have more of
shift
a working
the
group.
first shift engineers, like, there's, 30 different techs that rotate out versus, like, on second shift, like, there could be a day where there's only 10 technicians to work all of the jobs in the building.
Right. So you have more of a working relationship with
Yeah.
them because
Yeah.
it's recurring.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was pretty much my life update. Outside of that, I mean, I had a nice day on Wednesday. Wednesday was my most productive day, I think.
You didn't go to work.
Yeah, because I didn't go into work. But, in terms of, like, life stuff, it was pretty much just very long, hours at work, getting home at 4 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
and getting to work at, 3:30, right? So it's like, the first day I came in at noon,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Never again. Nope,
Right.
not this week." Because I ended up staying until, like, 2:30,
Yeah.
you know?
You
And
stay late anyways.
yeah, so I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna come in for standard second shift for this
Right.
week because this is looking what it's gonna be like." So,
And I
that's
so wish I could. I wonder if I could clip this segment and then send it to my boss and be like, this is the guy who I tried to vouch for like 2 years ago. And now like we just one of the guys on our team just left to go build submarines in Cape Canaveral or something.
mm,
Um, but there's like technically an opening on our team. And he was a level 4 engineer. So like he had a fat salary. So like I
yeah,
think our team has like empty money waiting around.
yeah.
Um, but maybe I'll clip this and send it.
Yeah, it's just like, and it's
Because if you applied this work ethic and attention to detail and like just general like give a fuckitude to
yeah,
the job that I work, you blow everyone away. Even on my team, there's level 4 and level 5 engineers on my team who don't put in the same effort that you do about a rag.
yeah, and it's like, it doesn't have like, the crazy thing to me is, like, none of this stuff has to be that complicated. People just make it complicated because of all the layers and hoops you have to jump through.
Right.
But, like, the other thing is, like, I don't even feel like I'm like, I get there and I'm like, if we run into a problem, like, you fix the problem. Like, these are, like, just, like, basic principles for me that, like, no one else seems to follow or care.
Right.
And it's just like, it's not even like I'm trying to create this, like, extravagant, amount of work that's just, like, monumental, right? Like, I'm just trying to, like, do a good job, at least
Right.
from, like, my perspective. And it's like, the bar is just like, at least from my view, is just like so incredibly low.
Right.
And it's like no wonder everything is taking longer and everything's delayed,
Right.
you know? But yeah, it was really fun. We had a work order like software outage this weekend
Mm,
because they were doing an update. And
Right.
so the software you run the work orders through was out for
Right.
this weekend. In order to prepare for that, they were going to have everyone print out the work orders that they work.
Jesus.
Now, first off, some of these the work orders I was working with, all the different operations in them, they're like 180 pages, 200 pages,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's a lot. But like a lot of these other groups, their work orders are like 800 pages,
That's
1,000
crazy,
pages,
dude.
right? And so everyone was like, okay, like I guess we'll print copies for it to work this weekend, right? And then upper management, like deputy director kind of management, hopped on, and they're like, yeah. And this was at 8 p.m. on Friday. The outage started at 10 p.m. on Friday. So this is second shift, 2 hours
to
before
go.
the outage started.
Yeah.
They hop on the call and they're like, yeah, we've been discussing with flow management, and we think that it's best that everyone have 4 printed copies on
Holy
hand.
shit, dude.
So
Why?
4,000 pages for
It's only out for 2 days?
2 days on a weekend, not even during the week. And there's only one group working on Sunday.
Damn, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah. So the entire call was people are like, how did we not know about this earlier? We're on second shift now. I have to print out like maybe you got 3 work orders to work, and they're each, let's say, 500 pages.
Yeah.
Right?
Now you're 35
now I
minutes
gotta-
of printing.
Now I got to print 6,000 pages on what printer? Like what printer around here
Right.
has 6,000 free pages available
And ink
while everyone else is trying to print?
and
Right.
time. Yeah.
So it's like now I got to print 6,000 pages in 2 hours
Right.
because last minute flow management decided that they wanted everyone to have 4 copies instead of 1. Nowhere in our requirements or our procedures does it say to have 4 copies. It says that if you don't have, you should have a paper copy on hand if you're working a job, because in case the system goes out, you should have a paper copy.
Right.
It's only 1 paper copy,
Right.
right? And then in addition to that, it says, or a PDF version on your computer is fine too.
Paperless.
Right,
Instant.
which is completely paperless.
Free.
Now they're saying 4 paper hard copies.
It's a crazy
It's
lecture.
just like a crazy. So everyone was freaking out, right? But like this is the stuff that like this is why people get demoralized on the program.
right.
It's because like nothing makes sense. There's no rationale. Everything is jumping through hoops, and the only thing that keeps people there is their own personal integrity. Like
Right.
there's nothing about the program that incentivizes people to stay. There's nothing about the pay that incentivizes people to stay, because like I've talked with
But it's just
people.
if you leave, then the technicians you have a work relationship
Yeah.
with will suffer.
Yes. Yeah. Or my friends will suffer. Or
Yeah.
I'll feel bad because I really like Joe Schmo on this, working with him. And I would feel bad for him because I know that without me, he'll struggle.
Right.
That is the only thing that keeps people there. And that's what management really doesn't understand. It's not the incentive. It's not the bonus, whatever bonuses. I mean, bonuses is ironic because
It's
we
not
get
the-
none. But
It's not the 45-minute drive there and back. every-
yeah, it's not. And it's like what they always tell is like, it's the mission that keeps people here. And I'm like, it's not. It's
Mhm.
not. That's a really nice thought for like bedtime stories. It's not the mission that keeps people here.
Yeah.
There's plenty of other missions that are inspiring to people. No offense. In addition to that, everything else on this program that's layered in along with this so-called mission makes the mission feel like it's not worth it.
Well, it's a they versus it's an us versus them mentality between the employees and the management, or not management, but like program buckets. But it's like all the technicians and quality people and like you down here are having to deal with the bullshit that they get from the program, right? And so it's like you all are suffering because of the program, and you can't like leave each other because then you're
Yeah,
the
and
rebel
it's like-
alliance weaker. Right?
It sucks because I think there are really good people across from all the way at the top all the way to the bottom. I think there's really good people just as general people, but like there is so much disconnect between what happens on the floor and what happens all the way at the top.
Right.
That like when someone like the deputy director hops on and is like, we're going to be printing 4 copies,
Mhm.
like to them in their C-suite office up at the top, to them 4 copies is like, oh, I'll tell my secretary to print 4 copies and I'll have them on my desk in an hour. For us, it's I'm working 2 different jobs. It's last minute. There's a Solumina outage about to happen. I don't know where to find a printer. My computer is not connected to it because I'm in a different building. I have to print 6,000 pages on a printer that has 200 available. I don't know what to do. Right? Like that's what it is for us, but that's not what it is for them.
Dude.
And there's a big disconnect there in
Right.
terms of like how things happen. And it leads to a massive like misunderstanding of like, why can't this just get done?
Yeah.
right?
There's a guy who I'm friends with at work. He's a fellow, which means he's the highest level like technical engineer that you can be in Northrop
Mhm.
Grumman. And he was at my desk the other day because I was talking to a couple other guys about some requirements that we're writing. And he was like, "We're having a huge issue right now because I'm sitting in on meetings on a completely different program with our customer and our leadership. And our leadership is trying to explain why we don't have requirements traceability from like the level 1 to level 5 requirements to our customer. And our upper level management doesn't understand how requirement traceability works. So he is having to go into these meetings, press the big red button to stop them and reschedule them to actually get the engineers that have done the traceability to come in to explain how it works and why, because the management is so far removed from like what actual requirement traceability is, because leading a team is all that, they really need for like a management level position. Like you
Yeah.
don't even have to be an engineer to be a manager, right? But then you have to go explain how like why you don't have any traceability between level 4 and level 2 and you just have between 4 and 5 and then your SRD at level 1. And so my friend is going into all these meetings and like hitting the button and getting the low level engineers. And I'm one of the lower level engineers doing the traceability on a different program. So he was like, "A, be cognizant when your PM schedules these meetings with the customer, be in those meetings to explain what's going on because the managers and PMs don't know what the fuck they're talking about." But it's exactly that. It's removing the disconnect because that disconnect is there. And without people like John,
Yeah.
the fellow, like there's a huge gap. And it's a big problem because like, we can win or lose huge contracts for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like this week was just it was just a very frustrating week, and it really sent home why I despise having to deal with this stuff on a weekly basis. But
Yeah.
to make myself feel better, I spent like 20 minutes after work on Friday just making memes about work. And I made like 4 really solid memes. I'll show you after.
You
It's
should
funny.
make an Instagram meme page and then
I tried that with the basketball. They put me off work for a week.
well, you put your face. A, doesn't that sound great? B,
It actually does sound great.
you don't put your face on there. You just make it an anonymous account.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything illegal about making a meme page, right? It's just in poor taste, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
It's poor conduct, I guess. I don't know.
Could call it something like Fartimus, and it's just like memes about the Artemis program.
Yeah. There's got to be one that's like deck 4 related.
Mhm.
I don't know. Anyways,
Deck poor. It's just pay memes.
yeah. I'm 40 years in, still level 1. Honestly, that's how I'm feeling here. Dude, I'll get to it in my update.
Yeah. That's all I have for life. So if you wanna
I'll
go right
fucking
into it,
rip right
go
into it.
for it.
Well, this week I wrote I had this is the same like big project that I had been working for a long time where I was in a meeting, someone was explaining a process. I was like, "Who's keeping track of that?" And they were like, "No one." And then my boss was like, "You should be the one to track that." And I was like, "That's a big fucking thing." And I'm a level 1 engineer. I've been here for 8 months. I don't know. And he was like, "I'll help you like write it out." And I was like, "Okay." So he started writing it out, spun out of control. Now it's a big fucking process that like we're pushing on to like a bunch of different teams and has to go to the chief engineer of our program to be approved and they're a part of the process, right? So I went to get the charter approved. Turns out I can't just approve it as a regular charter. It's a program directive, meaning this is like a rubber stamped official document that everybody on the program has to read and follow, which is dope. But all that is done and getting it through the like approval process takes a lot of time and it's a big pain in the ass and you got to like do a bunch of shit, right? It's a big deal. And the meeting that I had on Wednesday that I had to go, it was like a 1 minute thing. It was like a year and a half of work for 1 minute of like, this is our proposal. Can we just have this like approved? And everyone was like, "Yep, sounds good." But like after all that, I was like, awesome. And then I sat back and I was like, dude, I am not getting paid properly. Like even fucking forget the pay. Like the level 1 engineer, when I in Q2 for my second quarter review in like they do their quarterly reviews before the quarter starts, which is weird. So for my Q2 review in like March, my boss, my functional manager who like actually keeps track of where you are in your career, he was like, "Oh, like we're gonna put you in for a promotion, whatever. Like do this write up." And I was like, "Cool." So when I go in to do the write up, the way that I decided to write it is I pull up the Northrop Grumman definition of a level 1 engineer and I write out those bullet points, explain why I have met those. And then you pull up the level 2 engineer definitions and you explain with like actual examples why you meet those. And then I went further and I actually pulled out level 3 definitions and I explained why I meet most of those criteria. 8 of the 10 I met. And that's the write up that I submitted to him. So I was like, I don't know what to tell you. And like now after doing this week, I'm like, I don't even know if I should do my Q3 like quarterly connection because it doesn't fucking matter. Like I've already gone above and beyond for a level 1 engineer and at this point it's like
Yeah.
what's the point? Like if you guys aren't going to promote me then like why am I continuing to do this level of work? Right? I kind of feel like I should let off the gas until you guys pay me more or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um but I don't know.
Oh, did I tell you that my one of my one friends at work, the car guy, he's leaving
Where's he going?
Blue Origin.
Really?
He leaves in like a week
Is that an improvement?
in pay.
Oh, in pay?
I mean,
I don't know. Just
it
quality of
should
life.
be an improvement overall. I mean,
Okay.
he's going to be doing the same work over there that he's doing here,
Right.
except he's doing ground support equipment maintenance
Okay.
as an engineer, like, writing work orders, maintaining this stuff. But instead of the equipment being 4-year-old shuttle equipment, it's
Right.
all 5 years or newer.
Oh, cool.
And so he's just essentially just like doing like lube changes and oil changes and like, simple stuff like that on equipment that's like not actively broken.
Right.
And so he's going to be doing that stuff, same sort of stuff he's doing here at Blue Origin for a 35% pay increase.
Yep. Actually, that's something that I have been thinking about recently because I'm at the point now where I have enough experience that if I applied to a job at like Lockheed or Harris, I could get probably a 30 or 40% pay increase without issue. And then a year from then, I could do the same thing and then the same thing. And it's not uncommon for engineers to hop from company to company. And I haven't done it because I like my team and I like the program that I'm working in. I like the scope of
Yeah.
work. But the pay is getting frustrating, not because it's not enough to live, it's enough money to live. I can cut costs if I want to pay for more Facebook ads or whatever to do real estate stuff. I have money to buy closing gifts for my clients. What sucks is that now I feel like I'm contributing more value than I'm being compensated for,
Mm-hmm.
um, which
Yeah.
was frustrating.
That's how everyone feels on the Artemis program too.
Yeah.
You know?
But maybe I could tell my boss, hey, don't promote me. Don't give me any more money, but hire my buddy Sander and split the level 4 engineer. Level 4 engineers get paid like 140K. So like split that in half. And then
So what I make now.
basically, right?
It is.
But like,
I make 72.
yeah. But if all that money is sitting in our team, then like, hire Sander as a level 1. And I mean, even like level 1s in Northrop are paid. I think this year the pay bracket is like 83. So it's still a bump up for you, level 1 to level 1.
And I mean, I have 2 years of experience under my belt. I doubt that I would get, the base minimum.
Yeah, exactly.
I could
Right.
probably get at least
Probably
like the midpoint of
Yeah.
their bracket range.
Even level 2.
So
But it's on my list of things to do to talk to my boss about like, do I even bother doing my like review with my functional manager if like a promotion just isn't going to happen? Is it worth my time or do I just like do other meetings? And then 2, will you hire my buddy or interview? So
yeah.
here's my actual life update. The Camaro is running again. Last week we went in and pulled everything apart and tried to figure out what was wrong with it. We rewired in the ignition switch plug, the female end, and that didn't work. So then we replaced the switch, and then that didn't work even more. And so then we actually plugged the entire thing in properly, and then it started working, which is great. Super exciting. I'm happy to be driving the car again. It has not handled the heat well sitting out in the parking lot this whole time. So the paint on the rear deck has been cracking recently. It's even worse now. The paint in the clear coat on the front hood is coming up now. It kind of looks like there's rock chips everywhere, like tiny little flecks of paint that are just like drying up and like flying off. So it is falling into a state of disrepair. The headliner's coming down even more now. I think my sunshade has been deteriorating onto the dashboard, so it looks like there's snow on my dash.
Yeah.
It's starting to look like how most F bodies do, which is like beat to shit, which makes me sad because I don't feel like I like beat on the car. It's just getting old. It's not like I drive it off road or like scratch it with branches or door ding it or anything like that. Like I drive it hard, but I drive it carefully, and it's still just falling apart, which is a bummer. So I would like to just park the car and not drive it until it's fixed. As much as I do love driving it, getting back out on the road was awesome because as much as I loved the Lexus, it's just I love the way the Camaro sounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So after we got it running, the AC started to kick in and out. It was blowing, but it was blowing warm and then cold and then warm and then cold again. And now it's just blowing warm or hot, depending on the temperature of the day. So it's not even like, oh, I can just turn the AC on and like it'll blow some air and circulate it even though it's warm. It will blow hot, um, which isn't enjoyable. So that's a bummer. It was idling rough the day that you and I had it started. That has gone away. It's idling fine.
Yeah.
So that's good at least. But holy shit, it's so fucking hot in that car. Like this week we had some like real feel 104, 105 days, and it was that bad in the car. Like I'm speeding not because I'm enjoying the drive, but because I want to get out of the car as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And it is just unfucking bearable how hot it gets in that car.
I have to look at my AC compressor after this podcast. It's working fine,
Yeah.
but it's like making like a weird noise.
Yeah.
Like I turn it on the highway and there's like an audible like, and it's not just like flowing through evaporator noise. It's like a
Turbo flutter.
it's like it's really weird. It's like a deep like flutter.
Interesting.
And it's like
Huh.
it's probably just like the compressor chattering or something, but I'm wondering if that if the compressor is going around and it's like compressing and then uncompressing, compressing, uncompressing, if that's like chattering a little bit and it's causing the stretch belt to oscillate.
Oh, that could be the
That's
case.
what I want to check.
Yeah.
It's just being weird.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You're on your last compressor now, right?
That's the last one I have besides like eBay rebuilds.
Right. Damn, dude. At least, and I'm not trying to like say like belittle your situation, but if your AC goes out, it's a convertible, so you can put the top down and get more air.
Well, I also have an alternate vehicle that like I could fix. Like there are some
Yeah, that's
my problems.
I mean, I have an alternate vehicle too that I could drive, but like,
Yeah.
for practicality, I'd rather sweat and then let Grace go do real estate stuff than like,
Yeah, no, this situation's not bad. I just have
Yeah.
to look into it. I got plenty of options. I'm not worried about it. But
yeah. But you can put the top down and get airflow, but even with the windows and the windows are scaring me now too, because the tint is peeling up on fucking everything, which
yeah,
whatever, it's hot out, I get it. It's an old car. But like the windows are starting to move real slow. But like
yeah,
I cannot drive that car with the windows up because it's that hot in it. So like, I have to roll the windows down, but I know one of these times the window's gonna get stuck down and I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be that day.
that's why I leave a little bit every time I roll the window down. I leave a little bit, just so if the motor fails or I can't get up, I have the opportunity to at least pinch it with my palms and try to.
Pull it up.
Yeah, I always leave a little bit. I don't roll all the way down.
all the way down.
Yeah,
I might start doing that.
I started doing that after my regulator failed in the Beamer.
It's a good thought.
Because after that, I was like, this situation would have really sucked if it failed down.
Yeah.
And so then on all windows now, I always leave about like an inch gap.
Okay. That's what I'm gonna start doing.
Because then you can get your palms in like that.
Right.
And at least like if you can't, if the motor's dead, like you can slam the door a couple times, try to jiggle it inside.
Right.
And then like if it's just like jammed a little bit or stuck, you can at least like wiggle it with your palms and try to get it to get something.
Yeah. So it's that car is a fucking ticking time bomb. And it makes me sad because I love that car and I want to see it in good operating condition, but I do not have the time or money. And at this point, I'm putting so much time and money into the car, not to make it nicer, but to try to stop it from falling apart. It really feels like bailing water out of a boat with a hole in the bottom.
Yeah.
Right? Like no matter how much bailing you do, you are going to take on water and eventually it's going to sink.
That's how the Beamer feels.
Yeah, I feel like
It feels like shit. It feels
Yeah.
terrible.
Exactly, right? And I feel like I'm getting to the point now where I'm like, there's a lot of fucking water and I don't know,
Yeah.
like, I just want to, like, I've considered when I'm able to get a new car, and I'm getting to that later in my life update. When I get a new car, I would really love to give the Camaro back to my dad and have him own and keep and fix it because he loves doing it. It's his car. He only got rid of it because he didn't have garage space, but hopefully my parents will move into a place with a bigger garage or my mom can just park in the driveway and he can have the Camaro in the garage too. I know he's got a lot of work to do with the Jag, but like I want that to be his car that I get when he dies, not my car throughout my entire life, right? Because that's meant to be his car that I get when he passes, but like due to circumstance, I took it early.
Right.
But in any case, it's falling apart and it's making me sad.
Yeah.
But I'm glad it's running again because at least I can drive it, right? So
I
that's why.
tried to text the previous owner of the Miata. This was like a couple years ago.
Okay.
I was like, because he, from his perspective, he sold it to some 18-year-old kid that was going
Oh,
off to
yeah, I'm gonna
college,
fight
right?
and beat the shit.
So he probably thought like, oh, this car's fucked.
Mhm.
And so I like took some nice photos of it, and I was like, hey, like still got the car, kept it mostly stock, love the thing, has like 100 and at the time maybe like 170,000 now.
Yeah.
I bought it from him with 100.
Yeah.
He didn't get back to me. I don't know, maybe his number changed or whatever, but yeah.
Dude, I love VinWiki for the fact that you can find any car if someone has uploaded it. But if someone hasn't uploaded it, I'm like, damn, dude, like maybe I should check in like every once in a while just to see if like the owner of the Firebird who I sold
Oh yeah,
that's cool, like has uploaded it. But
yeah.
yeah. Well, actually I have the Firebird uploaded in there. But eventually it'll be cool to see like photos of our cars that other people take and post on the VinWiki page for it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I saw this driving around.
Right.
So one of the life hacks I have as a life update this week, it's hot in the car, right? Sweating my fucking balls off every day because I have to wear pants for work, right?
Yeah.
But when Hormozy was doing his Hormozy hotline in his book launch, I texted my number to try to get him to call me, right? Because I wanted to ask questions about real estate, of course. And I had it in my head. I was like, if he picks up, we're gonna have our whole thing, and I'm gonna be at the end of it. I'm gonna be like, Hormozy, you've given me so much value in all the years that I've been listening to you. If you'll allow me, I'd like to give some value back to you. And he'll go, what are you talking about? And then I'll go, I have forever loved your shorts, tank top, flannel combo because you can be comfortable in any environment. You're a little hot, take the flannel off, you can work out, whatever, right? And so I enjoy doing a similar thing, except I wear t-shirts because tank tops aren't comfortable for me, but I always keep a flannel in the car just in case I get cold. But you're making a mistake with shorts because shorts are thick, they like stick to your legs. With underwear, it gets really hot and sweaty. It's not comfortable, right? Instead, wear swimming trunks. It's breathable. It's light. If you spill anything, it doesn't stain. It doesn't take forever to dry. It dries out. You never have to clean them, or you should clean them, but like you don't have to clean them as often as other clothes because they are dry out so fast, right?
Mhm.
It's a fucking life hack. And so the reason I was going to say this is because I have owned one pair of swimming trunks for like 5 years because I love them so much. They're surf style.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and recently I was getting fed up with the shorts that I have that I wear otherwhere. And I was like, I should go find these surf style trunks again. So I went out. They don't have them anymore. I bought them 5 years ago. They're out of stock, right? Or they don't make them anymore. But they still make the same exact kind in a different color. And it's a dark blue, like the color of your shirt. I'm wearing
yeah.
it today. You saw me when you came in, right? They're fucking perfect. A, they're exactly the same, so they're super comfortable and it's something I'm used to. B, they're dark blue, so you could mistake it for like real shorts. So I can go to the beach and be comfortable because, then they're swimming trunks, right? Or I can go like door knocking for real estate or do an open house because they kind of just look like regular shorts unless you're paying attention, right? They're fucking perfect. But that's my life update is I bought a pair of them and I'm gonna go back and buy them out of stock because I love them so much. I would love an outfit, like a cartoon person outfit of like 7 pairs of the same set of swimming trunks and then like 7 pairs of alternating color Blue Marlin t-shirts. And then I never think about wearing clothes again. It'd be perfect.
Yeah.
So that's a fun update. Work travel. You remember when I went on work travel in like June, right? I used the company credit card to pay for that trip, as you're supposed to. And I have been getting emails like every day since then that I have like uncategorized transactions or something. I just ignore the emails, right? But I figured they'd go away eventually, right? Like Northrop would take care of it. No, here's how it's supposed to work. You get a company credit card, you go book the travel, you go on your business trip, you come back and you fill out an expense report detailing everything you spent money on. And then Northrop pays the bill and then pays you whatever you're owed, right? I didn't know that was a thing. So I haven't filled it out at all. So I got a very nasty email this week that was like, your payment is due this week. And if you don't fucking pay, it's going to be like, there's going to be problems. And I was like, why hasn't Northrop paid this yet? And so I found and talked to the right person about it. And she was like, oh, you have to do an expense report. And I was like, what's that? So she walked me through it. And I was like, oh, this is actually really helpful. She was like, yeah, Northrop will actually pay you for the food that you eat there because you didn't pay with the company card, right? And I was like, no, I paid with my personal card. And she was like, yeah, we give you a daily stipend based on the city you travel to. So like if it's an expensive city, you get like 120 a day. If it's a cheap shit city, you get like 40 a day. We'll give you a stipend to pay for that stuff, right? So if you eat cheap, then you might make money. And I was like, I eat McDonald's every day. And she was like, you probably made some money. And so we logged that. I had someone drop me off at the Orlando airport, so they'll pay for your gas there and back twice.
Mm.
And like we did all the math and we submitted the expense report. And I think my next paycheck is going to be like an extra $300, which is
Nice.
dope. And I had no idea this entire time. So I'm so glad I did it because I A, submitted it in time to avoid the penalty, and B, I might get paid extra. So
Mhm.
those are super cool. Uh,
Very nice.
yeah. My next life update is the Hormozy book launch. This past weekend, Hormozy launched his $100 million Money Models book, and it was a super big book launch. And as a part of it, if you were there live, you got the Money Models audiobook, and you got the online courses that you can take that walks you through the methods of the book, and you got um, 90 days free on school.com, and then $9 a month for the rest of your life. Whereas previously it was $99 a month, right? And actually, Grace logged into it yesterday and couldn't figure out how to use the website and got super frustrated at it. And she's like, "How do I cancel this?" And I was like, "Do not cancel it. This is a lifetime value. Don't fucking do this. Let's just learn how to use it, right?" Um, but like last night was not the time. We were doing other shit, so
Mhm.
we're putting a pin in that. But you've used School before, right?
Once, and it confused me,
Okay.
to be honest.
It confused me last night too with Grace.
Yeah, it's from what I understand, it's essentially like a community where you can introduce paid subscriptions in order to get into certain communities. So I guess it's
Yeah.
kind of like similar to like, oh, like check out my Patreon,
Huh.
right? Where it's like you can have a group of
But full
people
business.
that are all like-minded and then have a subscription tied to it and also like unlock features where you can pay extra, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would like to learn more about it because I have yet to find something that Hormozy recommends and have it not deliver,
Hmm.
but I don't know how to use School. And it's not like it gives you a here's how to use it as soon as you log in. I did find an email with a link that was titled School 101 course. And so that's where I'm going to go when I'm ready to learn about it. But anyways, so he offered all that. Um, the whole money models idea is to get people to pay you faster and repeatedly, right? And so he used the money models in his book launch, right? He used the methods as his book launch. So he collected more money before the book launch than he did during his last book launch.
Yeah.
And then he made an offer if you bought 200 books to donate to other people. A, it's a tax write-off because it's a donation, but B, you get a bunch of other free shit from him, right? And so that was a $6,000 payment that you could break down into $250 a month payment for 2 years,
Yeah.
right? And so I was fucking right on the edge. Grace and I were sitting and I was like, "Do I go for this?" And she was like, "I don't know, man. That's a lot of money." And I was like, "Yeah." And I thought about it and I was like, "Dude, this would be." So it's the breakdown is it's a Hormozy trained AI, which is what everyone's talking about. There's like 20 playbooks for like how to price, how to handle unhappy customers, how to whatever, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then a couple other things that are super handy. And all of that comes with this package. And I was really close to buying it. And what stopped me from doing because it's easy to rationalize, right? It's like, okay, I pay the money now, but like let's say that I buy this stuff, read it, and then implement it, and I make my first dollar using this method in like I don't know, like 6 months, let's just say,
Yeah.
right? That's 250 times six, which is like $1,500, right? So am I willing to spend $1,500 to conceivably make more than that in the next 6 months, right? And the answer to that is like an absolutely yes, right? And I held off from doing it and I didn't end up buying it because I thought to myself, I'm already getting the Money Models book. I'm already getting the Money Models courses, and I still haven't finished reading the Leads book yet because I'm still implementing the features from the first half of the book. So if I've only read half of the $100 million Money series, there's probably so much stuff that I'm not even using yet that would boost my business that I'm kind of skipping steps if I go get this like big package of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm probably not going to use it as well as I would be if I read and implemented the first $100 million 3 books thing. And that's why I held off. But before I made that decision, I texted you because I was
Yeah.
like, "Did you buy it?" Because I was like, I told Grace, I was like, I'm just gonna see if Sandra bought it because Sandra bought the thing in the pre-order
Yeah.
for like
The
500
15.
bucks.
Yeah. The
And
15
so
books.
yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna see if Sandra bought it because we'll see if he's also considering it. And she was like, don't. And I was like, what? And immediately she knew. She was like, you're gonna try and split it with him. Don't fucking do that because like either do it or don't do it. And I was like, I'm just gonna see. And so I texted you. And if you were like, I'm on the fence, I would have been like, let's fucking split it and go.
Yeah.
Because 125 a month, I can do that for sure. But you texted me back too late. You have like already bought it and like it's specific to your shit and whatever. And that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But I was like right on the break, right? But like, how long did it take for you to pull the trigger?
About halfway through his first pitch.
The first like $200 book donation.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he got
About
me quick when he added the like, here's how to do the launch, like the during live only that book. When he added that, that's when I was like, I need to consider this like
mm,
very heavily.
that's interesting because that was the one thing where I was like, I don't know if I'll really use that.
I think that I was considering using it because we want to do business in different ways, right? Your
Right.
ideal business is like the silent entrepreneur who like does a bunch of cool stuff but isn't like a public figure, right?
Mm.
And the direction that I want to go is more I need to get my face in front of people and I need to build a social network. So
Yeah. That's fair. Interesting.
launching things I think has more value to me than it does to you, and that's why that
Yeah.
was
I mean, it depends on how the cookie crumbles, I guess. I mean,
yeah,
I could be a toy company, the face of a toy company in 20 years and,
right.
be known around the world,
Well, and you'll have the live book. So like
Right.
if you need to launch
Yeah.
something, now you have the ability to.
So that's where I completely forgot to add it in my life update out of the launch completely. But the reason I got it was because I've gone through like the audiobook versions of offers and leads, and I've read in bits all of each of the books and implemented different stuff from each. Um, and so I'm still working through those books, and I didn't have the money models book at that point.
Mhm.
The reason I got it was I was like, this is probably going to be something that I get and I'll use some of it to try and get my return on my investment back.
Mhm.
But at such a base level right now that likely a majority of this stuff won't be useful to me. But I know that eventually at some point I'll hit similar roadblocks to all of these other entrepreneurs that have gone to Alex Hormozy for coaching, and these are the books that they used for that coaching to get them past that point. And so I was like, if if there's one thing that I want to have like 5 or 10 years down the line, it's
Mhm.
the playbooks for how he does that.
Right.
So that when I get to that point, I have those.
Right.
And so I was like, I probably won't use this for a good period of time, or at least not too much.
Right.
But at least I'll have them when I get there. Um, but there was another thing too. It was yeah. Oh, so I got the books, and then shortly thereafter, I ordered a fireproof case from Amazon, and I have like the offers, the leads, the money models, and then I have the playbook set. They're all
Right.
going in
Yeah.
that case because I was thinking about it, I was like, if big flood, satellite beach, and
Right.
everything gets destroyed, or uh, house catches on fire, knock on wood.
Right.
Like what is the one thing that I like don't want destroyed?
Right.
Like the computer's replaceable, all of my data's in the cloud, right? Like the cars would be devastating, but like I can buy another, right? Like the thing that
Using
I
methods in
yeah,
yeah, the money.
right. It's like the thing that like I could not replace,
Mhm.
or at least like feasibly could not replace if I lost everything, because they could be for sale in the future, but I might not even be close to being able to afford that ticket,
Right.
right? The one thing I don't want to lose is skills,
Yeah.
and most of like the skill building tools I have are through online databases because they're through like online courses. But this is like
Right.
one hard copy thing that I is not replicated online.
Right.
So I was like, I'm gonna get like a case for these so
Right.
that like I can keep them super, super safe.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did, But it's I mean, I hope it will be beneficial to both of us.
Yeah.
The AI. So there is a workshop on Tuesday for the AI,
Mhm.
and I have a bunch of questions about it. Because like for me, it was like, okay, like what if I change businesses eventually,
Is it
or
locked
like
to this?
scale up, right? And my metrics change. Like, how do I input that into the AI? Like, how flexible is this program? Like, what is the long term out? Like, I have a bunch of different questions, and I'm sure he's going to answer a good amount of those just in those initial pitch because he's usually really good at that.
Right.
But I also did email like the customer support and ask some questions. But if they don't get back to me by Tuesday,
Right.
then I'll try to ask those
Follow up.
questions live because I assume it probably won't be like a super small group, but it won't be it won't be 400,000 people, so
Yeah.
smaller than that.
Yeah.
And so hopefully I can get my question out there
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like I'm curious as to, because he also mentioned that it's used for, like, you can use this AI in your business, right? And like obviously, like in my mind, I was like, okay, well, there's going to be a lot of people who have a lot of different people in their business with different goals and different like jobs. Like
Mhm.
there's going to be a marketing agent, and then there's going to be CEO, and then there's going to be the CFO, right? There's going to be a bunch of different people. And if all those different people want to use it, then they have different roles and different positions, and they're going to use the AI in different ways. So how can it
Right.
be flexible from that standpoint, right? So I have like a lot of unanswered variables. So like right now I'm just like, I just like put it in this box of like, okay, this is used for this. I'm going to use it only directed at this small little window of thing, because I haven't had the meeting yet in order to inform me about like
Right.
what is the scalability or flexibility of this program. Like I have a
Right.
lot of different questions.
Right.
And before I like throw everything at the kitchen sink at it, I don't want to screw it up, because it was a really big investment for me.
Right.
It's like I already am not net positive in any way. Like any way you look at my overall net worth, it's not net positive.
Right.
Like you can do the best case scenario on all the used parts I have on eBay, and it's still like the math doesn't math, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like for me, like this is like a big investment in that sense. So I want to make sure like I really can't
Yeah.
fuck it up.
Well, and that's why I was when you told me that you got them and like they're yours and they're
Yeah, yeah.
right. I was like,
Well, you're
should-
welcome to use them. I just don't
no, of
want to
course.
leave home,
Right.
because like I'm not even letting myself take them out of the house,
Right.
because like I am like I've run over my laptop with my car before, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that was a complete accident, but it's like I know that I am overall not clumsy, but when I am clumsy, it can be
100%.
devastating. And so it's like I really don't want, like I don't want the 0.01% chance to line up with the one day I choose to take the book with me to
Right.
work.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and that's why I was like, I would scan everything into PDF and then put it on an external hard drive and then send it to the mountains and like just keep it safe in a vault somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, don't let it leave as a
Yeah.
backup just in case. But
So many pages.
it is so many pages. It's a lot. But at the same time, I think if you like bought a case of Red Bull and only scanned pages for like probably 20 hours, I bet you could crank it all out.
Oh yeah.
Which is a fucking ridiculous amount of work, but maybe worth it. I don't know. I'm
Right.
fucking paranoid about that shit, right?
Yeah.
It's why I've got all my Camaro documents like uploaded to the cloud.
Mhm.
But in any case, I think it's a good idea to buy it as an investment for like I recognize that I might not need all of this right now, but I might need it in like 3 years and it might not be available then.
Right.
And that was what the question I was asking myself on Monday when he was like, the offer's available until tonight, Monday at midnight. That's when I was like, oh shit, okay, so he's already extended it 2 days. Like maybe this is actually the last chance to get it. And then I thought about it and I was like, if he's already stretched it 3 days, there's a non-zero chance that he offers this again to like people who couldn't afford it today or missed out on it today in 2 or 3 years. And maybe that's the point when I would need it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was like the needle was just on the side for me to risk it and not buy it, which is why I didn't. But still like the book launch was hugely valuable. And then the book, I've already listened to like 80% of the audiobook and I got my paper book yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Me too. Yeah.
so I'm gonna do I think I'm gonna try the read it on paper and listen to it at the same time thing. And then if that works, then I'll buy the other two books in paper as well. And he's got the audiobooks on Spotify.
Oh, you mean leads and offers on
Yeah.
paper? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because Money Miles is the only one I have
Mhm.
in paper. I don't have I started reading the Lost Chapters PDF too, but I haven't gotten that in the paperback yet. But I think
Yeah, it's available. I think you can buy it in paperback on the site.
oh, okay, you think it's 30
$30.
only?
I mean, I saw it
Yep.
listed in the shop,
Got it.
like it was available,
Okay.
but I think it comes in paperback. I don't think it's a digital.
In digital only? What do you mean?
Like the Lost Chapters book, you
Yeah.
can buy it now on the site.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure when you do buy it for $30, it comes in a hard copy.
Right.
Right.
I thought
I
we
don't
were
think you get an emailed digital copy. From the launch, you got an
Right.
emailed digital copy.
Right. I thought we were getting a paperback version from going to the launch.
No, no,
Okay.
no.
It's just the
Emailed,
digital
emailed,
copy?
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I've already collected it, so that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, hugely valuable, that whole thing.
Yeah, I wanna print out the Lost Chapters, the PDF that we got,
Put it in your vault.
and have that in the vault.
Yeah.
I was thinking about printing out the launch book, but there was so much stuff in there and so many hyperlinks to different things. I was like, "There's no way I could
Yeah.
do this."
Yeah.
It was just like you could print out all
don't
of the
get that?
different linked pages,
You don't
but
get that either in print?
it's non-print. No.
I guess it's a lot of paper, but
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
anyways.
Well, also, he was editing the book up until Tuesday.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I guess it would be hard to put that out in a
Yeah.
timely manner.
Yeah. So that's my Hormozy update. Awesome stuff. Can't wait to apply that to business.
Yeah.
I was actually trying to think of different ways to apply it to real estate, but it's difficult with real estate because the only way that real estate agents can get paid from a customer is through commission. That's it. And because everything's regulated by the National Association of Realtors. So like if that's the case, okay, I can't really like upsell a better listing video for $500 because that has to be included in the commission. So then, okay, everything needs to be reframed into how much the commission changes based on the package that you buy. But then at the same time, okay, upselling might not work because if you're looking at getting me as an agent, you're assuming that I'm already going to do absolutely everything I can to get your house bought or sold. Otherwise, you're just going to go with someone else who's going to do it anyways for the same price. So then it's okay. Instead, should I pitch everything that I offer and then trim the fat and downsell and then show that that's a better value to a customer? I don't know. So I was trying to think about it from different angles and I couldn't really like piece it together exactly properly. It's going to take a lot of the thought to get there. But I've already identified a few things just from looking at the way that he launched the book and marketed the book and then comparing that to real estate sales. This is in my business update, but I've already gotten value from it. So
Nice.
So then my last life update is Lexus. I'm at 24,750 miles. So I've got 250 before my first service, which is just an oil change and then topping up fluids. So I bought Lexus OEM parts and oil to do the oil change. It's actually one of the exposed filters. So there must be a canister on top that you like filter out like the BMW was. Or is. I don't know if your current one is that way. Yeah. Which I'm stoked for because I've never had a car like that. I've always had to get under and fucking deal with it. But that's going to be exciting. And then I get to like get under there and like figure out what it's like to work on the car. So I'm excited. And while I was at the Lexus parts department, it has been 13 days. It's been since August 11th that I found out about the Lexus LC500.
It has been 13.
We're doing a countdown. We're doing a count up. Number of days from finding out about the Lexus 500 to getting one, right? I saw one this week. On the 12th day since learning about it, I didn't see, I'm looking for them now. I haven't seen one in 12 days, right? Yesterday, I did an open house in Satellite Beach and I was putting out signs and I turned the corner and I saw one, you know, the Circle K on South Pat? He was leaving the Circle K and then driving down Ocean Boulevard toward the ocean, right? So I saw the rear of the car as it turned out and drove down the road out of view. So I saw it for less than 1 second, but I could tell immediately. I was like, that I knew it right away. I was like, that's the Copper Crest paint color. It's not available starting in 2026. It's got the carbon fiber roof, no convertible. I can see that there isn't paint in the middle part, so I know it's carbon fiber, but like I recognized it right away and I got like super jazzed up. And so I know that I can't afford one right now or that I shouldn't afford one right now. Like monetarily, I think the numbers check out. I just don't have, I like shouldn't eat for like a month, right? And to save money on groceries. But I just want to know more about what the order process is like because when Al bought his Corvette, he put down like $1,000 deposit like 2 years before the Corvette showed up, right? So he like the way that car dealers do this is you put down 1,000 today. And then in like 6 months, we'll call you and you go to the dealership and you spec the car out with like the fancy materials and stuff like that. And then a year and a half after that, when the car is actually built and delivered is when the payments start. At that point, if you decide you don't want the car anymore, you lose your initial $1,000 deposit. And if you do buy the car, that $1,000 deposit goes toward your down payment. So if that applies to the LC500, depending on what the timeline looks like, I could put money down today to secure a slot and then gamble on whether or not I have the money by the time that car is actually built. I am not doing that. I haven't committed to anything like that because that's insane. But I'm just curious. I just want to know more about the process, right? It's been hugely motivating to me to get me. This is part of my lessons learned this week, but like it has been increasingly more difficult to get up, go to work a full day, go to the gym, do a hard workout, come home, eat dinner, and then go back out and work again. Like the then go back out and work again part is really difficult, right? But I found a video of the LC500 revving to redline that I showed you just before the
Oh, yeah.
podcast. All I have to do is listen to that once, and I'm ready to go back out to work today. So, like, I have found that this car is a huge source of motivation for me. It's all I think about. I dream about it. So, any additional information I can get that either pushes me closer to or further away from getting the car, I just want to know more about it. It's rare that I'm so interested in something that I learn about it to this level of detail. Like, I now know that they're taking away the infrared red paint color for the 2026 model, and the flare yellow, and the copper crest copper color. They're getting rid of those three colors, but they're introducing a new matte gray smoke color for the Inspire edition starting in 2026. Like, it's so rare that I learn about like this level of detail of car. I'm never interested to this level, right? But I am that obsessed with this car that I know the more I learn about it, the more motivated I am and the more I'll work, right,
Mhm.
to get closer to it. So when I went to the parts department to get my stuff for the ES, I was like, well, I'm here. I'm just going to ask and see what the deal is, right? There's a guy in the parts department. His name is Daniel. He's really awesome. He's been helping me when I got like the floor mat and stuff for the Lexus that I have. He was super helpful. And so while I was there, I was like, hey, you guys don't have any LC500s here, do you? And he was like, I haven't seen one of those in a long time, actually. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, they're gorgeous cars. Like, they're only appreciating in value, and they just got that update. And I'm like, yeah, I have been looking for one just to see it in person, because sometimes cars look good on paper and they don't hold up in person. They don't have the presence, right?
Mhm.
But I feel like this one would, but I kind of want to see it just to see it. I want to maybe sit in it and feel out like the materials. I thought they would have one in their dealership as a showroom car, but they don't have one there.
Yeah.
I drove around the parking lot. They didn't have any in the lot. And he was like, yeah, we don't even have any in the shop right now. And they've got like a huge bay to work on cars. Um, he was like, we don't even have any in the shop right now. And I haven't seen one in a while. And so I started asking him, I'm like, well, what's the ordering process like? Basically the same spiel I gave you. And he was like, I don't actually know because I just work in parts, but I can find you someone in sales to help you out. I was like, that'd be great. And he was like, let me do some thinking and find the right person in sales, because I don't want to send you to someone who's going to waste your time. And I was like, awesome, thanks. So I got his personal number, which is awesome because now anytime I need anything from parts, I don't have to call the dealership and then wait on hold until he's available. I can just shoot him a text. And I found out he actually owns a F-body Firebird.
Oh,
He's
cool.
got one of the Trans Ams,
Nice.
but we have similar tastes. He's a cool dude. And he got me the business card for a sales associate. So I sent that. He's a master salesman or something like that. I'm assuming that means he's been in business for a while. But I sent him an email asking about like what the process is like,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna go from there. But
Cool.
I've already decided it's spec'd out in my head. You can't get the rear wheel steering with the convertible because there's stuff in the back. I wanted one with a sunroof, but you can't get the rear wheel steering. The rear wheel steering only comes in the performance package. And the performance package is rear wheel steering, an extra rear dampener, some other suspension stuff, and the carbon fiber roof
Got it.
and carbon fiber side sills. All comes in one package that you can't get, like, you can't mix and match those things. And when you're speccing out a regular car, you pick like interior color, exterior color, performance package, right? You can also get a LC500 bespoke edition, which is where you can mix and match like stitching colors and stuff like that. Or you can get into more detail, but you can't break apart the performance package. And actually, for my research, I don't even know if you can get the sports performance package with a bespoke edition, which is weird because you'd think that with bespoke, you can get like exactly everything you want, including a sports package, right? But I'm not, that's unclear to me too. That's another question I have for the sales guy. But I've already decided I want a black car with the beige interior, and I want the sports performance package so I can get the rear wheel steering. And I want the Mark Levinson like 36 speaker setup because it's got
Yeah,
great
yeah.
speakers. I want the heads-up display. I'm just in love with this car. So that concludes my life update and my obsession with the LC500. It is ongoing and continuing,
Very
and
nice.
it's all I think about. And comes with AC, the
It
weapon
does.
windows, which my current car does not. One of my current cars does not.
Yeah.
So now every time I get in the Camaro, I think to myself, God fucking damn it, I could have this same experience, but with air conditioning in an LC500. And that's the only way to get it. There's no other way to get AC in my car. So what's your business update this week?
Business update is pretty good. I developed some longer form ads around the time that we did the last podcast.
Yeah.
Those did not do well. Which is okay. It's about normal by now. And so what I did was I chopped those up like I normally do and created shorter versions with different messaging styles and hook styles to see how they convert.
Right.
And so I did um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different tests. So 15 ads total I created, chopped up. And one of those seemed to do okay. It was getting, I've been able to increase my daily budget by a good amount. So right now I'm sitting at, I did increase to 500 for a little bit, but it wasn't keeping up, and I had like a really bad day where it just like completely tanked. So I brought it back down to
500 a
400.
day?
Yeah,
Okay.
and so I brought it down to 400 a day.
Okay.
And at 400 a day, it seems to be flowing pretty consistently. So I think that's where I'm gonna leave it about, unless I see like really good potential, and then I'll try to scale up past that wall again. But yeah, Friday just completely tanked. I spent $500 on ads, and I got 370 in sales,
Damn.
plus the cost of fulfillment. So it's just like,
Yeah.
but the previous 2 days it was okay, and like
Mhm.
usually I let it meter for at least 3 days until I decide whether to scale up or down.
Right. Unless it tanks.
Yeah, and if it even if it does tank on like the first and second day, if it tanks on the first day, I completely ignore it. If it tanks on the first and second day, I'll scale down a little bit.
Right.
If it's like medium, kind of iffy on days 1 and 2, but it completely tanks on the third day, I'll scale down.
Right.
So it just depends. But I scaled back down to 400. Seems to be holding. I'm hoping that it will hold there. Because about four, I might scale it down just a little bit from there too, maybe to like 350, maybe depending on how things are looking. But um, at about 400 a day, I'm generating about 700 ish in sales.
Okay.
So like you got a little bit of margin in there.
Right.
It's not lifetime wealth building, but it is
It's
positive
an improvement.
at least most days. So that's nice. But I was working those 5 different sets of ads, 15 ads total, and one of them seemed to get a decent spend around between $10 and $20 a day,
Okay.
which in comparison, my best the so my best previous ads were at lower spend, so it's a tough comparison to make. But some of those ads I still have running in like an older ad set,
Okay.
and those were getting about, the best one out of those was getting $5 a day, and
Is it
so
getting 10 or 20?
this one was getting between 10 and 20. So it's not better than my winner,
Right.
but it is better than my older stuff.
Right.
So I'm what I'm gonna do with that ad is kind of take a little bit of a deeper dive on it, and kind of look at what worked well, what didn't. I have some ideas to kind of, what I was noticing, I was running it back through, and I have like multiple desires that I hit. What? Oh yeah, that's the charger.
Oh,
The
got it.
batteries. My bad. But I have multiple desires that I hit. Um, in that ad, but I'm gonna try and narrow it down to like individually test desires.
Okay.
So it's like still one persona, but now instead of doing one persona with like 3 desires targeted in this ad, I'm gonna do one persona with one desire targeted in the ad.
Okay.
So I want to try that out. But what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna apply some of the Hermosi ad frameworks that I have to try and use his templates and frameworks in order to apply them to my ads as well. And it was interesting. I started reading, so I got the ads framework book yesterday. I started reading that last night. And he has a very similar strategy to what I have in terms of iterations.
That's good.
Like try different filters, try to cut it differently, try different music, right? Like he has a lot of like similar stuff. Actually, a lot of it was um very, very reflective of his 13 years of marketing advice video. Very,
Okay.
very reflective of that. So like very similar ideas and concepts in there.
It's good for consistency. I mean,
Yeah.
it's still working. Right.
Yeah. But it was funny because I was reading through the book and I was like, I've heard this stuff in the 13 years of marketing advice.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I just spent money to get this. Shoot, this wasn't a fucking video. But no, there is more value in there. The frameworks are, I think, where it really comes down to.
Right.
In terms of like what his 20 best ads and frameworks, and then a breakdown of why they work.
Right.
Like that's where the real extra value is. At least in my opinion, because I'm kind of at a similar spot in terms of iterations.
Right.
But that I'm gonna work this week. But the main thing I worked on this past week was a completely different reframe on the website. So I'd been wanting to run an A/B test for a while. I haven't done it because I saw it as more or less a distraction from creating ads, and I knew that it was going to be time consuming.
Yeah.
And so additionally to that, I didn't feel as though I had the order volume in order to make an A/B test like really worthwhile unless I ran it for 3 months.
Yep.
And if I'm going to run something for 3 months, I want it to be super well thought out, because otherwise it's just a waste of an A/B test and a waste of time.
Right.
And so I'm at the point now where I feel as though I understand my persona a little bit better. I had some evidence to suggest that I understand how to make ads a little bit better and hone in on that a little bit more. And so
Right.
I'm at a spot where I'm a little bit better with the business. So I was like, okay, I think now is a good time to launch my first A/B test.
Right.
And so what I did was I completely reframed the offer of the gramophone. Originally I've just been offering it as, this is a kid's gramophone. Here's like the educational benefits of it. Here's what it's got.
Right.
Here's like some frequently asked questions at the bottom, a bunch of reviews.
This is what you walked me through the other day.
Yeah, basic site. I reframed that into a legacy bundle package.
Okay.
So now it's the same product plus one thing that I added, I was able to add digitally without changing my fulfillment process or how much it cost me to fulfill.
It's a PDF, right?
Yeah, it's a PDF of like 25 different custom message ideas, 20 different games you can play with the gramophone, 15 different, like a bunch of other different tips and tricks, some other, there's a bunch of stuff in there. I forget exactly how I broke it down, but
Sure.
there's a bunch of stuff, a quick start guide with actual like photos I took with the different buttons labels. So I try to do a nice job with it. It's nothing super duper fancy, but I think at least I would hope that it adds some value.
Right.
And so step one, I knew this was going to be a shit process, and oh my God, it was. And this is why I'd put it off. But step one was to figure out what offer I wanted. I wanted to offer a legacy bundle because I'm targeting to an older audience. And largely, I think from my research and from what I've seen, that older audience is looking to connect with their grandkids rather than just like educational stuff is beneficial. Stuff that helps them learn and grow is beneficial. But like what it really comes down to, I think for a lot of older audiences like grandparents, is how, like, I want to really connect and build lasting connection with my grandkids, right? And so that's what I was targeting with this kind of legacy bundle frame. And so I first step was to get the site to reflect that. So I mocked up a quick site with kind of like a slight change in the line items, not much changes because I don't want to do too many changes. Changed the title and then added a photo of what the legacy bundle includes plus a description on the side, and then pretty much left everything else the same.
Right.
Then I went through that and just made some slight tweaks. I changed that image. I made the image a lot better for what the legacy bundle was. The one I had out there was kind of like just a placeholder to see how things were going to balance out and see if I was going to run into issues. And in that initial image, I did run into an issue that I didn't notice prior, to where how the image was framed between mobile and desktop. The way that Shopify does the blocks is you'll have like a rectangular block that you work in, and then you'll have like if you're doing like a rich image with text or something like that, you'll have text over here with like a headline and like description text below it. And then the image on desktop, it will be a flat on this edge here, but then here it will curve the edges here and here.
Okay.
But then when it goes to mobile, it'll curve the top edges of the video and leave the bottom flat.
Interesting.
And so what was happening was it looked on the GIFs, like on the little video things, it looks fine because like you're watching a video actively and it's like not that bad. But with a
Photo
image
Yeah.
with a photo image that has already linear aspects to it, when you have that uneven curvature, it makes it look funny when you go to transition from mobile to desktop. And this is something that like 99% of the audience probably wouldn't notice,
Right.
but it is something that I just wanted to clean up a little bit. And so I noticed that on my first test image. What I ended up doing was I added curvature. I added little filler arcs on the actual image in Canva on all 4 corners.
So that it would look complete no matter what.
Yeah, and those filler arcs are matched to the background.
Right.
And so that way, when it transitions, it just all looks curved all of the time.
Right.
And it doesn't really like clash with the GIFs because the GIFs are all symmetrical in themselves, right? It was just that one image was different. So I wanted to do that. So I noticed that. But then I run through this whole thing and I'm like, okay, I have this. And I had to do the product as a separate product because I couldn't have the same product itself on this legacy page. It had to be a new product. The reason being is because the way that Shopify connects your products to the website is that it takes the title and pricing information from that product. And you can change the description down below, but the title and pricing retains.
So instead of gramophone, it's gramophone and legacy bundle.
Yeah, well, the title is different. It's a Gramophone Legacy Bundle versus Sweeko Kids Gramophone.
Okay, got it.
Right? And so those are different. And so I couldn't change those. And I was like, I really want that. I want that title difference there because that's like a big part of this A/B test for me. It's like that marketing there.
Right.
And so I had to create a completely separate product for that. And so I managed to create that product, link my fulfillment so that it still fulfills the same physical thing on the side. And then, so I got to that point, and I was like, okay, I got the new product up. I got a new product page developed. It all looks good, right? I got to that point. And then I was like, okay, there's a bunch of other layers that have to happen here.
Right.
For example, my upsell offer on the checkout page, that I've been doing as automated through AI based on what you have in your cart.
Right.
The problem is that I have to have both products active in order to do this A/B test because some people are going to land on the original page and some people are going to land on the legacy page. And I need both products to be active at the same time so that they can fulfill either one, right? I can't. So the AI program, essentially what I'm saying is that the AI program is not going to know if they're on the legacy page. It might offer them the standard gramophone package.
When you're already getting
right.
legacy.
That might be like at best, that's just confusing. Right. Well, I mean, I guess at best they ignore it. At worst, it's confusing for the specific case because I'm not changing the price.
Well,
now
at worst they get confused and buy it, and then they're like, "Why do I have so many fucking gramophones?"
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's confusing too.
Yeah.
But what the problem I saw is that if I do this test and I want to increase price and I don't have a framework in order to do so, I'm gonna have to deal with this headache later.
Right.
Because then they're gonna put in, let's say I increase price on this legacy bundle and I have this extra stuff in it, but then they see the base gramophone for $10 cheaper, they're gonna be like, what the heck? Like, what's going on? Get confused, will likely just log off the site. Right. And so I really wanted to sort that out. So now I was changing the upsell framework within my cart. Additionally, had to change the after sell framework in a separate software that I run in order to accommodate for that. Then it was this new product. I had to ensure that the taxes were being collected on it because although it's being fulfilled on the fulfillment side the same, the products within Shopify is different. So taxes got to be collected properly, and then shipping's got to be collected properly, and then the bundle discounts also have to apply correctly to this new product, right? So that was a layer of kind of back end stuff I had to work. So then go ahead.
This will actually improve your return on ad spend and everything else. Like it improves all of your profit stuff because you can sell essentially the same product but for more, and then add in a digital delivery thing that you don't have to pay for shipping or anything.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it. Or that's what I'm hoping is that people actually care about the legacy bundle aspect, right? If people don't care about it, it'll convert the same, and then it's like whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
But they pay more, and you don't have to pay any more to give them more value.
Right. I create a bundle package that has value in itself, but I don't have to make it physical in any way, at least right now.
Right.
And so I got through this whole process and I was like, okay, I got the logistical stuff sorted on the new product. It's fulfilling properly. The cart is set up properly. The upsells and after sells are set up properly. My page is set up correctly. Now there comes another layer to the problem. When you click on collections from the main header, it brings you to a collection page that will have the standard gramophone on it. Now, this is where it gets really tricky, is if people land on the standard page, not a problem. Who cares, right? If people land on the legacy page and then they go to collections to check out other products and they see the standard gramophone, they're going to see the standard gramophone, but because I have a URL redirect for the products page, when they click that standard gramophone, it's going to go to the legacy page, which is good because that's what I want because they're in the URL redirect. The problem is that if they're clicking on a standard gramophone and then a different product pops up, that's confusing. Additionally, if I ever change price on the legacy bundle and they're clicking on the standard gramophone through a URL redirect, it might show $50 on the standard gramophone, but when they get to the bundle, it might say 60.
Right.
And that's confusing, right? So that was a problem there. So then I was like, okay, can I create a new menu header? So I tried that first. I tried creating a new menu header, but the problem is that I can only have one menu header in at a time. I can't correlate the menu header to a URL redirect.
Right.
And so then I was like, okay, how am I going to solve it? And I went around on this trying different things for a while. And so I said, okay, what I have to do is I have to create a separate URL redirect that's within the same A/B test for the collections page. So that if they are in this initial URL redirect test and they click the collection page, it also redirects them because they are in the redirect test. When they click that collections page, it will redirect them to a different collections page that looks exactly the same, but that standard gramophone is replaced with the legacy bundle.
It matches the product for your A/B test.
So then that process went through. And then I got to that point, I was like, okay, I have that sorted out. What I don't have sorted out is the homepage. And this is where it got really tricky because Shopify does not let you create two homepages. And so I started looking at the testing side of things. I'm using IntelliGems. It's a A/B test platform essentially, with some little gadgets and gizmos on it to make it more informational or work better. And they have different styles of tests. They have like a standard URL redirect test. They have a template test, which you can test different templates for products. Right. I thought about doing that for the product itself. It wouldn't work because the product, even though my description, all that stuff would change, if the product was still the same, the title would be the same and the pictures would be the same. And so I couldn't do that. And then I thought about doing a theme test, which just completely changes the theme. The problem...
That's like the coloring on the website, right?
Yeah, it's like a completely different layout and outline.
Got it.
The trick with the theme test, there was something, I think I could have gotten the theme test to work. But it was a big lever that I would have to pull with a lot of different variables, and I was much less familiar with that than with this URL style. So I didn't end up pulling that lever. I thought there was a real reason that it wouldn't work. I can't remember what it was. But I think it had to do with the homepage. There was some error that was going to be in that top bar menu, and then the homepage was going to be... It was something like that. Anyways, so I got to the homepage, and I was like, okay... First I tried like creating an alternate homepage through IntelliGems because they let you kind of edit through Shopify and it creates an alternate. It wasn't properly editing. When I would edit the menu header or stuff like that, like it wasn't actually editing it in a different template. It was still linking back to the original and then just screwing up everything in the header. And so I was like, okay, I got to create a new page. So what I did was I created a new page that wasn't a homepage page. It was just a general homepage. Or sorry, just a general page on Shopify. And then I said, okay, I can't copy over like just Command C, Command V from the homepage to this page, but I can build out a homepage that looks exactly the same, well, with the Shop Now button changed over to the Legacy bundle, with the product highlighted changed over to the Legacy option, and with the bestsellers at the bottom changed over to have the collection that I set up with the Legacy. And so that's what I did. I built that out, and then I did a third URL redirect so that when they enter this URL redirect, if they enter the Legacy side of it, they will get the Legacy product. If they click on collections, they will get the Legacy collection. And then when they click on homepage, they will also be redirected in order to get the Legacy homepage. And it all integrates so that no matter where you are on the site or what you do, if you are on the Legacy side, you will only see Legacy things and you will only link to Legacy products. If you are on the standard side, it will all look like a standard product to you. And then it's also linked up so that when you are in checkout on the Legacy side, you only see stuff that's correlated to Legacy before the sale and after the sale. And so that process, although sounds easy, figuring out how to do this and how to make it work was very time consuming. Because I'd never I'd built out pages before, but I'd never really dove into like what are the different collections? How do you change the menu header?
Right.
How do you like correlate this stuff? What can I copy over? What buttons are going to link to what now? How is that going to change? What do I need to add on the back end in order to allow that to flow through the code, right?
Right.
So
Well,
that
usually you only have to make one at a time.
yeah, yeah.
And now you've got to do.
Yeah, and I think ones I make are just like, oh, I'm just changing this entire thing. So I'm just going to link it to the same collection and the same menu header and the same pages, and I'm just going to delete this thing from the back end and add this thing in its replacement. And
Right.
it'll all just autofill,
Right.
right? And so this was a big step up from that. And so then for the last thing I did was I set up the actual marketing email to get the PDF to people.
So how does that actually? Does it automatically email it to them?
Yes, so I had to set up a separate automation flow through an email marketer so that when an order is fulfilled for one of the legacy products, in addition to their order confirmation email, they get a email with the legacy bundle in it with a link. And that link is connected to a file in Shopify, but that because I set it up so that's connected to a file, it'll actually just automatically open in a PDF viewer.
Okay, got it. So when they click on the link in the email, it'll open a PDF page. Got it. Cool.
And so I set that up.
So that's instant too. The second they pay, they get it.
Second they pay, they get it.
Nice.
And then I set up 21 days after, I set up a in case you missed it reminder. And it's the same email with a different headline.
Right.
And so did those two things. The one thing I'm concerned about with it is it comes from my support email. That email can get flagged by inboxes as like a promotion or as like spam. And so it might not pop up on their direct inbox.
Right.
What I tried to figure out a way to integrate it into Shopify's email system directly and not using a third-party marketing email software.
Right.
That to edit it within Shopify requires me to have coding knowledge.
When people
Casual coding.
When people pay for a product, do they get like an order confirmation or something?
Yeah, from Shopify.
Can you edit that?
That's what I'm talking about now. I tried to do that.
You need coding.
I actually need like actual coding knowledge in order to edit that.
My thinking is you could just put a disclaimer somewhere. Like even if they press pay, forget the order confirmation, you press pay, and then the screen comes up that says thank you for your order. On that page, can you put like a check your junk folder just in case or something like that?
Yeah, that's what I was. That was another thing I thought of too.
Okay.
Even that requires coding. Any editing after the moment that they click, they actually pay, or actually, sorry, the moment they hit the checkout button and they get into the flow where they have to fill out their like name, payment info, and all that stuff. The moment they hit that checkout button, it becomes an automated Shopify flow that any page after that point requires coding knowledge.
Yeah.
And so that's where it gets really tough because I could link it on the checkout page.
Right.
But if they haven't checked out, like they're not gonna think to, oh, let me just download the legacy bundle in case I don't get it later, right? Like they expect it to come. So what I'm gonna do for now is do email setup, and then I'm gonna see how well it goes. If it completely tanks, then I can assess from there. If it does really well and it's starting to pick up speed, am I able to scale up? I have to get some sort of email system that will ping their real inbox 10 out of 10 times rather than like 5 out of 10 times.
Right.
I got to get that set up. But I think traditionally most of the support emails do come into the main inbox. It just I'll try to coordinate it out and figure it out. But at least right now it is set up so that everything flows. All the pages are linked correctly. You only see one or the other product, and the after sell, the upsell, all of that is linked through, and the email is set up.
Right.
So I have everything set up, and their offer is getting delivered to them. Like I am delivering on the promise.
Right.
But it's just like the email comes in a way where I'd like to make it a little bit better.
Right. I guess worst case scenario, even if they do miss it and they have to email or call you and they're like,
I'll
"I
just
wanna
send it.
on my thing," you could be like, "Oh, like, it might be in your spam folder. Here it is anyways," right? So
Yeah.
you have an opportunity to improve the customer experience, um, I guess, is a silver lining.
Yeah, yeah. So, that was a majority of my effort this week.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, it sounds like a big fucking
it was
pain
a
in the
but
ass.
the beauty of it is because it's all set up now, if I want to change price, even if this legacy bundle doesn't work,
Mhm.
because I understand how the system works and I understand how the frameworks work, if I ever want to change price in any way, at this point, it's pretty much automated to where I can just change the price on the back end and everything else will autofill on a completely
Different
duplicated
days.
side of the website
And so then you can A/B test the price whenever you
very easily.
right.
And that's the reason that I was going so ham on this is because the base subscription for IntelliGems is $80 a month.
It's not
They have a price test feature where you can actually just like click edit in Shopify within IntelliGems and then edit the price of the product right there.
oh,
That feature costs $300 a month.
okay. But if you could do all the work by hand like you just did, you don't have to do that.
Exactly.
Right.
Because IntelliGems is just doing a standard URL redirect test. It's not
Huh.
doing anything else. And so I can save $220
A
a
month.
month just by doing that. But then on top of that, the price test wouldn't have even worked for me in this case because I was changing the whole product theme
Right.
with the
Right.
title.
For
Right.
that
But like in the
yeah.
future, even if I wanted to run a price test, like I just
Change it
change it on back Shopify on the back end, the
Right.
URL redirect test does the rest. Very
So,
basic.
is it randomized when are you gonna have an ad set for the legacy and then an ad set for the real? Or are you just gonna have one ad set and then when people click the button, it randomizes which site they go to?
So right now, this was actually another layer that I had to think about too. My winning ad has a URL redirect already built into it.
Mhm.
The link that actually clicks from the ad redirects to the main product page.
Okay.
And so I was concerned, what if the customer clicks that main link and IntelliGems doesn't recognize it
Right.
because it's a different link than what's being redirected. It ended up working because when they click that link, it redirects to one URL and then automatically redirects to the other URL because
So, okay,
because
just
IntelliGems see that second URL there and it will put
got
it
it.
to it'll either just leave it or it'll push it to the legacy bundle test,
I hear you.
right? And so it ended up working, but for now, I am not catering the ads in any way because I don't know whether people even care.
Right. So,
Um,
when someone hits they watch the ad and they're like, "Neat," and they press the button, it's randomized which site they go to.
it's 50-50,
Okay, cool.
completely 50-50.
Cool.
And I tested this with Brave browser yesterday. It's like a Brave, like incognito is
Like
like not
Dr.
really
House. Yeah.
incognito. Yeah, Brave is like that next step up where it's like you're really off. And so I tested yesterday and I was able to get myself to redirect to both sides
Okay, cool.
and then completely test every single function on each and they all worked perfectly, which
Sweet.
I was really happy about because it was a lot of effort and work to get it to
Yeah.
that point. And it was a lot of like, oh, I think I got it now. And then I was like, shit, I forgot about the shipping.
Yeah.
Or I was like, oh, I think I got it now. And I was like, dang it, I need to set up that email thing.
Right.
Right. So it was a lot of that sort of thing. But what was it? What'd you ask me? I was going to answer your question and I forgot.
No, you answered. It was is it randomized or not?
Oh yeah, yeah, it is.
Got it.
Oh, but the ads, I'm not catering the ads yet at this
Right.
point.
You wanna
I
see if
have
there's any
some
interest.
ideas to cater the ads. The reason I'm not well, I could cater them. I have to figure out how it will work on the URL redirect side because I don't know if I link directly to the legacy bundle. I don't know if that will tell IntelliGems that hey, they're in a redirect test. Because it never went through the first stage of the redirect where they click the original link and then
Then it
IntelliGems
randomizes.
tests
Right.
it, right?
Right.
If you just go directly to here, I don't know if it's going to correlate down the rest of the ladder.
Hmm.
So I have to see that.
Yeah.
I could test that at home on Brave browser and see if it works. But I could make ads catered to it. I plan also another reason I'm not going to do that yet is that IntelliGems pulls from data off the site
Mhm.
and it's pulling data with an implied 50-50 split. And
Gotcha.
so if I start pulling massive traffic to one half of that 50-50 split, it's just going to screw up all the metrics and then
Yeah.
it's just
It's
not
not gonna
going to
really
make
make
sense.
test anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because if it did link The only way it would work if I had an ad specifically catered to one side of the A/B test is if that actually linked through.
Right.
But if it links through, that means Intelligence is seeing it. And if Intelligence is seeing it, it means it's getting data off of it.
Right.
And so now I'm going to have a massive skew of like number of orders and, sessions and like I'm going to have massive skew in the data
Right.
just because I'm running ads only to one half.
Right.
It only works if it runs to one half, but then if it does run to one half, it fucks my data. So I can't really do that yet.
Yeah.
I actually, now I'm walking it through, I think that was the reason that this was the rationale I had yesterday when I was trying to think about that.
Right.
But yeah, that was a majority of my week was going through that process.
Hell yeah.
And
getting it done.
And getting it done. It launched last night. It's gonna take at minimum a month to get data that is worth looking at minimum. Ideally, it's probably going to take about 2 months.
But they'll give you data in the meantime, right?
It'll give me data, but it
You just don't wanna use it.
it won't be statistically sound.
Right. Well, if after a month it's completely tanking,
Yeah.
probably like an indicator. What I was thinking
Or if
is
it's completely rocking, then
Right.
probably an indicator.
well, and that's like, if it's a all or nothing type of deal, right? And there's a clear correlation, you would want to know about that before the 1 month mark so you can improve. But if the website was like, you'll hear back from us in 30 days, that's different, which that was my question.
You can look at the data actively.
Yeah.
But that's my business update.
Sweet, dude.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Well, a lot of just like that one, previous weeks it's just been ads. And then this week I put it together 5 different tests. I ran them. I haven't analyzed them because I've been doing this A/B test that's going to run in the background for the next month.
Right.
And so I wanted to set that up now that I have a better idea about my persona and avatar and research.
Right.
And then I can now go straight back into ads. And I have the framework templates as well, which will hopefully be helpful. Hopefully that'll make me some money. That'd be cool.
Sweet, dude.
Yeah.
That's
So
a good
good
update.
stuff. What do you have for business update this week?
Mine is not so focused. Mine's kind of fucking all over the place. So I've got like 30 updates and they're all like in different fucking directions. This is not the focus on the one thing that works week for me. This is the try a little bit of everything week. And I am cognizant that I'm not doing the focus on one thing. But I'll start with an update on where my clients are at. I'm starting to structure my business updates into blocks of like, here's where I'm at with my current clients, and then here's where I'm at with lead gen, and then here's some cool like philosophical stuff, right? So my out-of-state clients, if you'll remember, they're coming from the Northeast. We looked at a bunch of properties, wrote offers on a couple of them, and then they were all like real low. And none of them got accepted. We had good counters. Like we brought the sellers down to like a reasonable price, but it's just not where our buyers wanted to be. And so they flew back home and, they were like, we're going to hold off. We've got some like personal stuff going on. So we'll come back down in September and look in September, right? That's where we left off last week. This week, they hit us out of the blue and they were like, hey, we're thinking about actually putting an offer on one of the houses that we looked at already. And I was like, oh, cool. Like we hadn't written an offer for this one yet, right? This house needs a new roof. The sellers know that. So they were like, let's write an offer for still like significantly lower than what it's listed for, plus a new roof. And I was like, okay, sounds good. So we wrote the offer, sent it to the sellers, and they did not accept. They said, okay, we'll do a new roof, but we're not coming down on the price at all. And so then our buyers were like, well, that's not the deal that we want. We think the house needs more work than that, so it's not worth it. We were like, okay, sounds good. Like whatever you are looking to do, you're the ones having to do the work on the house, so that's cool. And so then they hit us back. Okay, now we're back to where we're going to go look in September, right? Then they hit us back and they were like, hey, we're actually looking for houses on the west coast of Florida now. Do you do service over there? And I had to think about this for a second because legally I am licensed to sell and buy real estate in the state of Florida. So I can. You only have access to the MLS, which is the multiple listing service, or in other words, the site that all real estate or realtors, you have to be a licensed realtor, meaning you've gone through the code of ethics training and you're a member of the National Association of Realtors. Realtors have access to the MLS, which is a like central hub for all real estate listings, right? So when I help you sell your house, I put all the information in the MLS, and then realtor.com, Zillow, Redfin, all the sites that you have looked, Facebook Marketplace, all the sites that you look at houses on, it auto populates to, right?
Mhm.
So I only have to do it in one place, and I can see all the history of the pricing and everything like that. And then you get the like UI version in
Got it.
Zillow. Um, you only have access to your local one, right? So like I use the Space Coast Association of Realtors MLS, SCAR, and that's for Brevard County, right? Um, Now you can get access to other MLSs in certain scenarios. So like when Grace sold that house in Vero, she was able to get access to the Vero MLS, right? Sometimes it costs money, sometimes it doesn't cost money, but you need like special permissions or something like that. Sometimes you can't get access at all, right? So depending on where it's at in the West Coast, to get access to their MLS, I'm either going to have to pay money or like plead my case or something. And I don't even know where they're looking at in the West Coast. On top of that, I have to decide if I want to drive to the West Coast or not. Because when they were in town, we looked at, I think, 10 or 12 houses over the course of 2 days. And like we ended up submitting 3 or 4 offers, and all of them were real low, and it wound up not working out. So, am I willing to drive to the West Coast multiple times to show houses? Again, once we're in the inspection period, and then for final walkthrough at closing. That's at least a minimum of 3 trips to the West Coast. Depending on the where on the West Coast that is, that could be 5 hours, 7 hours,
Yeah,
right?
Naples, 4.5 hours. And
Exactly.
Naples is a nice area. It's 4.5 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, like, you never know what you're gonna find in the inspection period. Like, I might do 4 trips out there, and then, like, we find foundation damage in the house, and then I have to
Yeah.
do a 5th trip, right?
It's also risky going out there. Sorry to interrupt you,
Sure, you go for it.
but it's like I have only been out there. I've probably been out there a dozen times,
Mhm.
and out of the dozen times I've gone, w- I have almost never had experiences where I've almost hit animals in the road.
Mhm.
And I've driven at night a lot, driven a lot in rural areas.
Right.
Out of the 12 times I've gone down there, I've ran over a deer one of those times.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so and there is wildlife that gets hit all the time,
Yep.
like all the time.
Yeah.
And so it's like going out there too, like even in the Lexus, it'll be comfortable. Boy,
I'd
the
be
last thing you
devastated.
want to
I would
fucking
be
deal with is hitting something in the road in that car.
I'd be devastated.
Yeah, like that's not something you want to deal with.
Yeah.
I got very lucky. Actually, it was funny. I raised the suspension an inch before I left for that trip because
Thank God, dude.
because I was like, you know what, the West Coast roads might be a little bit rougher. I want to raise the carb a little bit. I adjusted the suspension the night before we went on that trip,
Right.
and the next day in the evening, I ran over a deer,
Yeah.
and I was literally probably half an inch from needing AAA because I caught the rib cage of the deer in the
Yeah.
subframe.
Yeah.
And so it's like if that was any lower, it would have just hit me and I would have been fucked,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, that's lucky.
Yeah. It just
Yeah.
like barely skimmed the rib cage and like of the carcass.
Right. Well, and that would have totaled the car.
Yeah, it would have
Surely.
oh,
It's the
that
end
would
of
have been
that car.
fucked. And I only had liability. So I would have been fucked.
Yeah.
Right. And so yeah, like, if you're driving out there, be mindful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to consider it, and I was like, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of risk associated with this.
Mhm.
Risk in the terms of like I'm spending a lot of time for something that's not a done deal. I don't know if I can provide the same services because I don't have as intimate of a knowledge of the West Coast market as I do on the East Coast. I know Florida real estate in general, the large trends, but I don't know neighborhood to neighborhood, right? I don't know what common issues they have out there. So like, I don't know if my quality of service is as good on the West Coast as the East Coast, right?
Mhm.
But I know that no matter what, if we find a house on Zillow, most of the houses on the MLS are on Zillow anyway. Sometimes it takes a little longer to update, so we might not be able to get in like the day it's listed, but I can access the listing agents for all of those and talk on the phone. Every listing has a seller's disclosure that the listing agent will send to the buyer agent, right? Detailing everything that's wrong with the house or right with the house. So I know that I can still do my job. The only difference is I don't have the expertise that I do with the East Coast, right? And so I talked to Grace about it, and I was like, and she was like, I don't know, man, because like it's a lot of gas money, it's a lot of maybe hotel money, it's a lot of food money, and I don't know if it's a good investment, right?
Yeah.
And I said, I agree with all those things, but at the same time, I don't think I have it in me to A, shoot this deal in the head, B, hand over our clients who trust us to an agent that I don't know or trust, right? Like, I
Mm.
don't want them to go with someone from a different brokerage who might not have the same like ethics or practices as we do,
Sure.
right? Um, And B, I mean, genuinely, I do believe that I am the real estate agent to go not the extra mile, but the extra 200 miles and drive to Tampa and find a house, right? And so I was like, I think we tell them that we do service that area and we can, but we do specialize in the East Coast. So I don't have that same specialty on the West Coast. And Grace was like, okay, if you're willing to do the driving. I was like, I think we are. She was like, okay. So that's what we told our clients. And they were super happy. They were like, awesome, we love working with you. Like, let's find a place. They sent us one that they found in Bradenton, which is about the closest West Coast city you could ask for, which is good news for us. And so I was like, okay, this is where we do our job. I started doing market research for the Bradenton area. I started to learn about the neighborhood. I reached out to the listing agent. We got the seller's disclosure and everything. And then Grace got on the phone with the agent and she was like, oh, this is not an option. And I was like, oh, really? That was why. And Grace said, well, firstly, they don't think that it would pass for a VA loan, right? Which is something that our clients are looking into doing. So that's the Veterans Association loan, right? Actually, with the VA loan, you can get a house for no money down. So like
Well,
zero down payment,
that's
which
good.
is super cool. Yeah.
Good.
And that's something that our clients are looking at doing. But the listing agent was like, not only do I not think it would pass for a VA loan, but also we're actually taking it off the market. And it's because the seller is fucking batshit crazy. And Grace was like, oh my God,
Awesome.
what happened? Yeah. And the listing agent was like, this has been on the market for like, almost a year now. And I finally got a full asking price offer. But the seller freaked out on her and denied it because it's a loan, not all cash. And when listing the property, they agreed that they would accept loans. And now she's going back on that and saying it's actual cash. Interestingly, I went to a Blue Marlin training earlier this week on talking through line by line the listing agreement that we write with our clients. And in there, it actually says if we agree on a price, you're my client, I'm your agent. If we agree on a price and then I go market your house and then I find you a buyer willing to pay that price, I've done my job and I am due my commission. Even if you decide not to go with that person, even if you decide to drop me as an agent and go with someone else and sell the house with the same client and that person, doesn't matter. I brought you that buyer. I brought you that offer for the asking price we agreed to, and I am due my commission. And Blue Marlin will actually use FREC, the Florida Real Estate Commission, to go after the seller to get that commission. And I was like, God, I can't imagine this has ever happened, right? And they were like, it happened earlier this year with one of our agents, and we got him a $35,000 commission by doing it because he found a buyer for the asking price, and then the seller like just met a different real estate agent that they wanted to work with more mid listing, and they were like, "We're actually going to drop you and go with this other guy." And so the Blue Marlin agent was like, "I'm owed my commission. I got you a buyer," and they went through with it. And then, sure as shit, like 2 days later, Grace is like, "The same thing is happening on the West Coast, but I don't know what that agent's listing agreement looks like because it changes by the brokerage. So she might not have that same like coverage."
Yeah.
But I was like, "Wow, twice, two examples in the same week of that thing happening. I should be not negligent. I should be cognizant of that, right?" So we talked to our buyers and we're like, hey, this house isn't great, but if we can find like a group of like 5 or 6 to go look at, we can drive over there in a few weeks and do like a digital walkthrough before you come back in September. And they were like, okay, sounds good. And then, we were just kind of shooting this shit over text and they were like, we've never had this much trouble buying or selling a house before. Like we've bought like 10, 15 times and we've never had this much issue. And at this point, I am actually in the middle of reviewing the satellite beach market. And I'm like, so Grace responded with like, oh, well, like most houses are going for like 10% less than listing price. And I was like, that's not true. It's less than that. So I looked into it. And in the cities, that's Brevard County. It's like, maybe like 8, 10%. But for the specific cities we're looking at, it's 8%. They're going under original listing. So like you and I agree to list your price at like 500 and then it's actually going to sell for 8% under that, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so I replied to our clients and I was like, actually, most houses are selling at 8% under the original list price. And we've been submitting um BLF. I wrote this acronym and I couldn't remember what it is. We're submitting best, last, and final offers of 12% under, meaning houses are selling for 8% less. We're doing 50% more than that and not budging at all. So like we are actually submitting offers that are significantly under where the market is at right now. So for example, we found a really nice house for $299,000 that we had submitted an offer for, or I think it was this house. It might have been another one. In any case, I brought up that specific one where I was like, they actually were meeting us in the middle at a reasonable price at what it should sell for given the market conditions, and we wouldn't move up on that. And, that's okay. It's totally up to you. I'm just giving you this information to know. And they were like, well, I think they listed the price too high to begin with. And I was like, that's totally cool. I understand. I'm just letting you know, like, what the market is like down here. And so
Yeah.
they thought about it. And a few hours later, they were like, okay, let's actually go back to that house. Let's revisit that house and let's submit another offer on it. And I was like, okay, hell yeah, let's do it. I don't know if it has anything to do with the market knowledge that I shared, but, you know, I'm all game for a house on the East Coast that we've already looked at and know that they like, right?
Yeah.
And so they said, let's revisit the one that we just put an offer on, right? And instead of asking for a bunch less money and a new roof, let's just say 5,000 less than what it's listed for, and a new roof and a new garage door because that one looks kind of old, right? In my opinion, totally reasonable offer. They're already listed $10,000 below what the market going rate is, but it needs a new roof. So if you include that new roof
Yeah.
price, then that's roughly around the market is. And so now we're splitting hairs over the cost of a garage door, which is maybe a couple grand, right? And like the sellers can pick the brand of garage door. So like, up in the air for them, right? Reasonable offer. I think it's a good offer. I think it's one of the first reasonable offers that we have written together. And so I'm super excited and I'm hoping that they go for it. We sent it on Thursday and we gave them 4 days to reply. So they have until the end of the day tomorrow. It's a investment company that is selling it, not like a person. But just between segments here, Grace texted me and she thinks that it got accepted.
Oh
So
wow.
that could be
Awesome.
fucking awesome.
That's
Yeah.
super cool.
I think he
Okay.
said the listing agent said that the documents are signed, but he wants to reiterate and make sure that the seller saw the thing about the roof and the garage door.
Mm.
So he wants to make sure. But if that's the case, then we could be under contract today, which would be fucking awesome. It's a new update that I didn't know about
Yeah.
going when I wrote the sheet. So that's super cool. One of our other clients is looking for an investment property, something that's like really beat to shit that needs a lot of work that they could either flip or rent out to people, right? We had shown them a couple properties and ultimately they were like, hey, due to life circumstances, I have to delay this and maybe go a different direction. Totally cool. No worries, right? This week, out of the blue, they were like, hey, I found 2 properties in the MLS list that you guys should. We have them set up. I can set people up on a kind of like an email list where it's like you're looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath home on the south end of Merritt Island, right? In the $300,000 to $700,000 price range. So I can go in the MLS and set up search alerts so that every time there's a new listing that's put on the MLS, the second the listing agent hits the enter button, it's sent to you. So you can see it immediately, right? And so this client was like, hey, 2 of those came across from the email list you guys set me up for. Let's go see them today. So we have 2 showings on Tuesday this week, which is awesome. I wrote this entire business update kind of in the dumps because I feel like I'm being real sporadic all over the place, doing a bunch of different things. I'm getting to it. But I kind of wrote it like unfocused, but recent developments in the last 12 hours are looking good.
Yeah. I woke up this morning feeling dumpy too.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck.
Yeah. A big thing for me is that I just feel unfocused and that I'm trying too many different things. So I'll get to that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big pullaways that I found from the Alex Hermosi, where do I have this actually written? Hermosi bonus offers. One of the things that I got from the Hermosi pitch was if you donate 200 bucks, you get this huge packet of like stuff that's really awesome and super valuable and an AI thing, right? And when I really was considering, because he would go through each book individually, right? And as I was watching him go through each one individually, I was like half of these on their own, if he was offering just this playbook as like a bonus on something, it probably wouldn't be like persuading for me. I would need like at least 3 or 4 of them to make it worth it. And he's doing like 20, so like obviously
Yeah, 12. Yeah.
right, exactly. But like just 1 or 2 of them isn't that persuasive to me personally, whether they're applicable or not. You could take the top 2 most applicable ones and throw it on, and it still probably wouldn't sway me, right? I would need all of them. But then I thought about it and I was like, actually, a lot of this stuff is really similar to the stuff that he covers in his podcasts. And I'm sure it goes into more detail, but it's like to him, these are like fundamental things that he doesn't even think about, right? But it's something that's hugely valuable to us because we don't see it on a day-to-day basis. And so rather than taking a money model like the upsell, downsell, recurring, or anything like that, and applying that to real estate, because that's difficult to do with commission, like I mentioned earlier, what if I apply the meta lesson that he used in his money models book and apply that to real estate? And so what I mean by that is he offered the 200 book donation thing and sweetened the pot by adding a bunch of stuff, right? Stuff that was kind of regular run of the mill stuff for him, but special to us because we're not used to it, right? So when I'm making my pitch as a real estate agent, I should call out all of the basic stuff and frame it as a bonus. Because even if everybody expects a listing video from a professional videographer, all agents do that. That should be in everyone's marketing pitch in the listing appointment. If I stack that along with 40 other things, then it really highlights the value of it, right? Similar to Hermosi's playbooks. Like there's no denying that the 12 playbooks are valuable, but one of them on its own isn't. It's when you stack all of them together, right?
Have you noticed that actually car dealerships do this with new cars? When
Oh,
they list out, you know, when you get like a window sticker,
yeah.
half the shit on that fucking window sticker comes from factory.
Right, exactly.
It's like it'll have stuff in there like a satellite navigation radio
Yeah, it's
when
like
the
all
car
cars
is
have.
only optioned with a satellite navigation radio.
Right.
Right? Like it's a or CarPlay. Every car's got CarPlay. Right? It's
Exactly.
not a fucking option,
Yeah.
but it's
Right.
listed.
But
Right?
it's yeah. And then when you throw that in with all the other shit, you're like, oh, it's a good deal. And you fall in love with the car,
Exactly.
like I did with the Lexus.
Yeah.
And so when thinking about that, I was like, okay, the small stuff adds up fast.
Yeah.
And, you know, I like, I was brainstorming this with Tyler and I was like, oh, like, for me, if I get a listing, I will do open houses at that house. Like that's how I'm going to try to generate buzz around that. I will do a listing video. Those are kind of normal things. But if I stack those two things together and then I reframe the open houses as I will guarantee you that we will do an open house every weekend for 4 months or something like that, or like, 20 weeks, that sounds way more compelling, even though it's kind of a given already. To me, it's a given. But to me, I go above and beyond, and they don't expect that. So I should call each one of those things out.
Mm.
So, um, for example, a free CMA, right? Comparative market analysis to try to gauge how much your home might be worth, right? Most real estate agents do that. But if I throw it in as a free thing, then it seems more valuable. And so I had that idea in my head, and then I was like, I actually wonder what would be most valuable to include in these like bonus offers, right? And the answer is wherever the customers feel the most amount of pain. And there's an like undeterminate number of ways that a customer can be unhappy buying or selling real estate. It's like the whole process is a headache, which is why you buy a real estate agent, right? But I went to our friend Ryan from college who recently bought a house. And I was like, hey, what was the worst part of your buying process? And he said, honestly, paying the real estate agent. And I was like, okay, why? And he was like, honestly, I found the house, I sent it to her, we went and looked at it in person, and then I picked the number for an offer that we should submit. And then like, she did whatever paperwork and like we bought the house. And like I did not feel like she did a whole lot. And I was like, I totally understand that. Just to clarify, you didn't directly pay the agent because when the house sells, the listing agent collects like usually it's 6% of the proceeds, and then they split that with the buyer's agent. And Ryan was like, yeah, but I pay more for the house for that 6%. And I was like, yeah, but everybody using a listing agent is going to factor that into the cost. And, so many people use real estate agents. That's kind of just the market trend. So it's rare that you would find one without it. So like, don't lose sleep over it at night. But tell me more. And the lesson that I was learning is that a lot of people like make fun of real estate agents because they like fucking just sit around and like jerk off all day and then make money, right? Like they're like, oh my real estate
Yeah.
agent like didn't do anything and got paid, right? And there's two ways to look at it because some agents genuinely do that. I know those agents, they suck. There's other agents that do such a good job that they make it seem effortless, but like they actually do a fucking shitload of work. And I have been trying to be the agent that does a shitload of work and makes it look easy, right? But what I'm realizing is there's a balance between making it look easy and actually letting your customer know that you are working, right? And so the lesson that I got from Ryan is with any one of my clients, I should handle everything, but kind of let them know where I'm at in the process of what I'm doing so that A, they're in the loop, and B, they know that I'm busting my ass, right?
Hmm.
Even though I'm not asking them for anything. So that was a cool lesson that I learned from Ryan. I think that's it for my philosophical stuff. So onto Facebook ads. I
Never yet.
ran, huh?
Facebook ads.
Yeah, our favorite.
Lovely.
So 2 weeks ago, I ran my first ad set for like 5 days. It was $20 a day for the first 3 days, and then $50 a day for the last 2 days, right? Static image ad, offering a free CMA on your house, right? How much equity do you have in your home, right? This is similar to an ad that a successful agent has had running for like years. So I know that it converts for them. I got like 13 or 14 leads. All of them were in their 80s. None of them picked up the phone. The ones that did were like, go away, right? Totally fine. And so I thought about just not running the ad again because I was like, I, didn't get anything from it. But then I thought about it and I was like, you have to run an ad for longer for it to actually like pick up pace and like learn what's what, right? So I should keep it running even if it's less money. And so I tried I thought about making the same ad in the ad set run for another week. But when I went in to try to do it, it like wouldn't let me do it. So I had to duplicate the ad within the ad set and then run that for a week. It's like what if in the ad manager, it's like once an ad is over, you can't like extend the time to do it again.
Oh, did you put an end date?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's why. Yeah.
So if I don't put an end date, but I give it
Yeah, so just do a start time and leave
okay.
the end date unfilled. That way you can just turn it on and off whenever you want.
And so then if I like can I set it for like a certain amount of spend per day?
It depends on whether you do ABO or CBO. CBO is campaign-based optimization.
Uh-huh.
That's when the budget is through the campaign, and then it dictates what amount goes to what ad set through a meta algorithm. Then you can do
Okay.
ABO, where you have individual ad set budgets and you force spend onto ad sets within the main campaign.
Okay. I only have one ad set right now.
Then you can just do CBO, campaign budget optimization, through your campaign editor
Okay.
and set that to whatever daily budget you want and just let it flow through the ad set into the ad. But yeah, when you're setting up like your campaign ad set and ad and whatever, always start at midnight the coming day. So if you're working, Tuesday evening, set it for 12 a.m. Wednesday. That way it'll release right when it hits midnight
Okay.
that you're coming up to, right? So that way it has a full day to spend on that first day. And then never put end dates, because if you put end dates, it will actually terminate the ad after that point. If you want to stop running an ad, turn off the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to stop running a particular ad set within your campaign, just turn off that ad set.
Right.
If you want to turn off a particular ad, you get the
Right.
point. But yeah, that way, if you don't put end dates, if you like for me, I've had this happen before where, I'm really, really close on budgeting and I'm waiting for like a check to hit my account so I can forward it to the agency. I've been able so far to get away with just turning down the spend and just coasting out for a day
Mm-hmm.
and then refunding the account. But in worst case scenario, you can turn off that campaign for that day and then just turn it on. You want to make sure that if you are running something for a day, you want to run it for that day. So but you do not don't turn it off after midnight. Turn it off like at 11:55 or 11:50
Okay.
p.m. When you start something, this is really important. When you turn it back on, do not turn it on halfway through your day and don't turn it on right at midnight.
12:05.
Like 12:05. Because I made this mistake once and I will never do it again. I had a different time zone in my campaign and I didn't know it. It was for a mountain daylight time.
Yeah.
And I'm Eastern Standard Time here. So at that time it was daylight savings, so it was a 1 hour difference.
Mm-hmm.
I turned it on at what I thought was 12:05 or 12. I hit it. It spent $250 between 11 p.m. and 12 a.m. So that was just
How do you get that whole day
all
in the last
in the last hour. So just ensure that your time zones are correct, which they should be, because it
Right.
should be autofilled to your location unless you
I
know.
picked DST.
Yeah. But just do it at 12:05 because just
Yeah.
in case there's a slight time glitch, you don't want to blow your entire budget in like 5 minutes.
Right. Exactly.
Right, because then it's just going to reset. Like it's going to blow it all, and then it's going to immediately
Right.
reset, and then blow it through the next day.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just
So-
stupid.
So the first ad set like kind of half worked, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna like drip feed it and like let it keep going. So I'm gonna set it up for another week. Well, I couldn't that ad had expired because I set an end date. So I was like, oh, okay, well maybe I'll do another ad. So I made that's Nate.
Mhm.
So I made another ad, same thing, copy paste. I just duplicated the ad and set it up for another week at $10 a day spend just to keep it like data mining and learning. And After that, I realized, oh, this ad's going to run. It'll die at the end of the week, and then I'm going to do it again. And I don't think that it shares data across ads. I think it keeps the data within a single ad, right?
So there is a way that you can share the data between ads. It's not so there is optimization data that happens between the ad set, inside the ad set and inside the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
The ad itself is optimized by how the campaign and ad set structures into that ad. The ad itself, I don't know how much data it physically holds besides a like and comment engagement.
Okay.
Those things, if you want to retain them, there's a couple ways to do it. The best way to do it is to go into the ad and hit duplicate.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can either select like a basic copy duplicate or an advanced.
Yeah.
And then you can either duplicate it, like the standard one will just duplicate it into your like same campaign.
Right.
With the advanced, you can duplicate it into another campaign. The bonus of that is when you hit duplicate, it retains all of your comment and like information across all platforms.
Okay.
Now, Meta's lately has been a little bit weird, so that's the best way to do it. Traditionally, how I've done it, and it's worked in the past with Meta, although I'm probably going to be changing my strategy, is you can actually get the post ID and then copy the post ID wherever you want, and it will filter in that ad. That post ID does retain engagement and comment information. The trouble is that recently people have been seeing that it retains it for Facebook. It doesn't retain it for Instagram. So there's some glitch happening on the back end. But if you just do the duplicate function, it should work clean through.
Okay, so that's good. That means
And you have the opportunity to cancel the end date when you duplicate it because it's all in editing mode. And so you can go in and delete your end dates.
got it. So I have an end date for this one. It expires at like midnight tonight or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
When that one dies, I'll duplicate it, and then I'll remove the end date, and then I'll just set it to spend $10 a day for the rest of my life, and then I'll just like let it run. So that's what I decided to do, and I was like, okay, I spent like $165 last week on 0 new leads. That's fine. I think when we did our napkin math, it was like $250 a lead or something like that.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
something.
Yeah. And like genuinely, I did get leads and I did get people like pick up the phone. It's just they were not qualified leads, right? They're just confused old guys, right? So I understand. We did an open house the other week and there was an old guy that came through and he had an Apple Watch and he took a call from his daughter and he answered with 2 fingers and went like this to the Apple Watch. So like I can't imagine how people are like accidentally clicking on my ad. Like I'm sure that it's accidentally happening, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, I want Facebook to kind of learn that. So that's what I'll do this week is I'll let it end, I'll duplicate it, and then I'll set it to run with no end date. But that's $10 a day is like $300 a month, which is not a ton of like that's a ton of money when I'm not making any money, right? But I also want Facebook to learn the target demographic for this, right? Now, I was talking to another agent and they briefly mentioned how when you get a lead from a Facebook ad, it goes to your lead center, your CRM, which is what I'm using to track all my leads.
Yeah.
I said last week I was getting a good flow. That has continued to this week. Things are good. You can set the lead as like contacted, converted, qualified, not qualified, or lost, right? And I have been moving the lead from intake, so it's like new lead, you haven't touched them yet, to contacted. And then I will like text or call them like every 2 or 3 days for like a week or two, right? Before going, this person's never going to pick up the phone, like just don't bother, right? Well, this week I got to that point with one of the leads where I was like, it's going straight to voicemail. I'm getting the text bounce back thing where it's like it wasn't delivered. It's probably not an active number anymore. So I'm going to put this person as not qualified, right? And then I went and talked to an agent at Blue Marlin, and they were like, "Oh yeah, well you can teach Facebook which ads are working or not by moving your leads to qualified or not qualified. Because if you move someone to not qualified, Facebook knows, oh, that person didn't work out. Don't show it to more people like that." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's awesome. That's exactly how I could teach Facebook to learn, right?" And then I went and I asked ChatGPT if that makes an impact, and it said it doesn't. So I don't really know what the deal is. In either case, I'm going to move the people who aren't picking up the phone to not qualify. Maybe it'll teach Facebook. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I know Facebook ads work for other people. So like
You can use a suggested audience. It's not going to completely filter out people. I know that you're not able to do that with your real estate stuff, but it's suggested.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to filter out any demographic. I just only want to show it to people who are genuinely interested in getting an
Right.
equity report,
Right.
and like confused 85-year-olds don't know what they're doing. So,
I want multi-billion-dollar CEOs only.
dude, one guy responded to the ad, gave me his contact information. So I sent him a text and I was like, "Hey, I'm your real estate agent in Space Coast. I hear you are interested to hear what your home might be like. Tell me about your home." And he said, "You are mistaken. I need to know how much it'll cost to put a stair lift in my rental." That has nothing to do with equity. What the fuck are you talking about? And so I was like, "Okay, what city is your rental in? I'll find you a stair company," and like go from there. But yeah, I just want people who are interested to respond so that I can talk to people who care, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to waste other people's time. So in continuing to think about that, I'm like, okay, the Facebook ads are great. I would like to design a video ad that I can post and like run to try to get people. But I'm realizing that if you are not consistently closing deals, Facebook ads are fucking expensive. Chicken or the egg, right? Spend money to run your Facebook ads to get clients to make money, to put more money into Facebook ads, right? I understand. But I'm thinking here, there's the two ideas here, right? The first idea is when I'm looking at other agents and the ads that they run, some of them are hit the button and fill out the form and give me your contact information and I'll reach out to you. And the other half is click the link below and it'll take you to my landing page where you can find more information about me, right? So then you hit the button and then maybe you fill out a form or not. It takes you to their page, right? I don't have a website. I don't have a landing page. Should I design a landing page to make it easy for people when they type in my name? It's the first thing that comes up. Or on my ads, I can go to that, right? I am not interested in building a landing page right now because that's a lot of computer shit that I don't understand, and I'm not sure if the ROI is good because I want to be closing deals right now. It feels more like a nicety than a necessity, right? So I kind of have had that thought in the back of my mind. But then I was like, okay, this is part of the not focused segment of my update, right? Where it's like the Facebook ads are going to cost a bunch of money to run, and I have no problem spending that money so long as I'm making that money from closings. But until that, I have to choose where I spend my money wisely, right? I have to be resourceful because I don't have any resources. Um, so I thought that's a one to many cold advertising. What is a one to few warm advertising strategy I can do? A lot of people in real estate talk about their sphere of influence, which is essentially every person that you have ever contacted or ever been in touch with is your sphere of influence. So, like, you can call those people and tell them about real estate, or you can follow them on Facebook and they'll see your post or something like that, like some way that you are in contact with the person, right? And I don't have a huge sphere of influence because I unfollowed everybody on Facebook and Instagram when I graduated high school and college, right? So I don't have a great sphere of influence because I just unfollowed like everybody, right? But there's still a lot of people that I know and remember from high school and even had good relationships with. It's just like when we didn't go to school anymore, we didn't talk anymore, right? But those are people that I could easily call and talk to about real estate. Um, so I decided to go to the storage unit and get all of my yearbooks from kindergarten to 12th grade,
Mhm.
and also then to my FIT records to find a list of all the professors that I had. And so I opened up an Excel sheet and I literally went page by page and I added every classmate that I recognize or remember, every professor that I had, every teacher that I had, any professor or teacher that I didn't have but I know of, right? Maybe my brother had them or something like that in middle school or high school. And I added all of them to an Excel sheet. And now I'm going one by one and I'm pulling them up in white pages and I'm logging their phone number and potential city that they live in. And I'm following them on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And the reason I'm doing that is because the one to many cold is cool. Making posts that are going to be suggested to people in Brevard County is cool. But the more people that have already met me and can vouch for me, even if they don't buy from me, but might recommend or interact with my posts, is a plus to get the numbers up as much as possible. So this week, a bulk of my work has been going literally line by line and adding each of them, right? And then as soon as that is done, then I'm going to start calling them one by one. In addition to that, the teachers that I have fond memories of, I am writing letters to. I've already written the letters. It's basically like um, the TLDR is like, thank you for being patient and teaching me in high school and college. I used all that to go get a job as an engineer, and now I'm working on cool stuff. Isn't that awesome? I actually have a second career as a real estate agent, and I'm looking to give back to people who have done a lot for me, such as yourself. So let's meet up for coffee and talk about it someday. Um, I first coffee's on me, and then I'm going to put a Starbucks card in there, right? And then I'm going to put a little mini note that says, "P.S. This is not the first in a long line of solicitation attempts. This is a genuine thank you," right? Like, there's no strings attached here. And then I'm going to button that up and send it to my teachers, right? I've written 10 so far,
Cool.
5 or 10, I can't remember. I just have to get the Starbucks cards and then actually mail them out, right? So that's my warm outreach that I'm doing right now. So like I have the half-assed Facebook attempt running cold outreach, and then I have this as my warm outreach. So running nicely with my out of focus. Here's another update. There's a girl who is 24 years old. She's a real estate agent in Washington state. She was on the Tom Ferry podcast recently. She's 24 years old. She's been in real estate for 4 years, and she just did a $40 million year. Her first year was 14 million. So by comparison, 14 million is like 400,000 in commission.
Yeah.
Or is that right?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
What percentage it is?
it's like 3% roughly.
3%. So 14 million. It would be 140,000 times 3.
Yeah.
So yeah,
About 420. Yeah.
yeah.
So for like her first year, she did 400K, and now she's doing 40 million, which is wild, right?
I think
I think
yeah,
that's right.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So clearly whatever she's doing is working. And in the episode, they were like, if you were starting over from scratch today, what's something that you would start doing immediately? And she was like, YouTube videos. I get so much traffic from the YouTube videos. I've talked about her before. She has like 200 subscribers, not a huge channel. She averages like a couple thousand views a video, right? I think they're all local views or people interested in moving to the area. And a lot of them reach out to her, and either it establishes her position as like a professional, or it's people who are reaching out to try to buy houses from her, right? Either way, she said it works. So I literally took one of those market report videos. I copied the script into a Google sheet, and then I changed the script for a local city here in Brevard. And then I did the market research and I filmed the video. And so I wrote the script, I filmed the video, I edited it, and I posted it all in one day, which is the first time I have done like a social media project from start to finish in a single day.
Nice.
And I did it for me and Grace. And then I did it in horizontal and vertical format for YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook.
Nice.
So that I found is a pretty high leverage project, because it's in total a 1-minute video. It's a quick market report, right? But it hits the high points, and it's not only helping the viewer by telling them what the deal is in their city, it's establishing myself as a professional in the field. It's a short video to watch, so retention is good. It's an easy video to write and make, and I can make it for both Grace and I. I think I can edit each video in like under 30 minutes once I get in the flow. So like for an hour and a half on one day, I can make a video that I can post on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, which is solid. And from the ones that I posted on Instagram and Facebook, I'm getting good engagement, like likes and follows and comments and stuff. So I'm happy with how that video came out. Hannah Dubine knows what she's doing. She's awesome. So I think I'm going to be making more of those in the future. So that is good for another like one-to-many cold outreach, right? Another tactic that I have Grace doing while I'm doing all this shit is I made a list of states and major cities in the United States, and Grace is writing emails to real estate agents in every city for referrals by basically saying, "Hi, Sander in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm a real estate agent in Brevard County, Florida, on the East Coast, the Space Coast. We've been having a lot of people move from your city down here for work at the Space Center recently. If you ever come into a client, we'd love to do it. We do a 25% referral fee, right? So if you send a client down here and we help them find a house, I'll give you 25% of the money. That's what I'm doing for the people that are out of state right now, right?
Okay.
But if we have an agent in every city, in every major city, in every major state, then there's a likelihood that we get at least one client from that at some point in like the next year, right? And if it's as easy as just like rapid firing off emails for like a day and a half, that's worth it for me. So I have Grace doing that now. I also met a guy who he just like tapped on my shoulder and he was like, "Hi, you're a real estate agent, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, I'm a software engineer. I'm a computer guy. I don't like calling people or talking to people, but I started to learn about real estate a little while ago because I was interested in wholesaling. And I was like, oh, cool. Why didn't you end up going for it? He was like, I don't want to talk to people. Like, I don't want to talk to people on the phone. I'm not a social creature. Right. But I started to learn where in the government websites you can see people who are defaulting on their taxes or like homes that are about to go into foreclosure or stuff that's about to be auctioned off. And so I was thinking about writing a script. Using AI or something to basically generate a list of leads that we could call and find people who want to sell their house. And then we can go list those houses. And I was like, dude, that's awesome. And he was like, yeah, I don't know if you're interested or anything. And like, I'm trying to sell, like, if I were to do this, I would have to figure out a way to sell leads, but I don't know what real estate agents want. And so I'm thinking about like different ways that I can make this work for him. But honestly, I was like, dude, it would be cool if like you, me, and Tyler worked on this, and then like you just fed us leads, and then we give you a referral fee for each of the leads that convert. Because right now, there's a lot of companies that will sell you leads. Like you get 2 days, 2 leads a day, and you pay $30 a month, right? But they're like the leads I'm getting from Facebook. They might not pick up the phone, but if he gives me 30 leads a month, like, I don't know, 2 leads a day, and one of them closes, I would want him to get commission on that. You can only do that if you're a real estate agent, right? So he would have to get his license, or I would have to pay him on some other, like, for some other service that changes value, like an average of something. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
still making it work, but I thought it was an interesting idea. There's a guy that does computer shit that I don't do that could lead to a lead gen business, which would be sweet. Um, I also learned about a government grant for impact windows. They'll give you up to $10,000 to subsidize you putting impact windows in your home in Florida, which is cool. And I did another open house this weekend, which continues the streak of open houses um, from my first one till now. It's like
Nice.
12 in a row or something like that.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's the bulk. That's my real estate update. Fucking all over the place. I don't know where I'm gonna go with this into next week. I kind of have to like pick a lane and then do it. Um, I'm making good progress following people from like high school and college and stuff. So I think I want to finish that out just to say that it's done. And then I'm gonna set up probably like I'm gonna try to call like 5 of them a day or something like that every day and just like touch base and see if anyone's interested or knows anyone. Or at the very least let them know I'm doing real estate. And then I'll mail the letters out to my professors and stuff. But like from there, I'm not really sure what direction I'm gonna go in. I kind of have
Yeah.
to like regroup tonight and figure out what I'm gonna do. But that's my real estate update. My last business update is that you and I might be selling our IP. And I don't know how much you want to talk about this on the podcast, but I wanted to note it because it's of interest.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, happy to pass that on to someone that would use it more than we are using it right now. I think there's some good value in there, and uh, hopefully someone else will also see that and make money with it.
Yeah, we wrote these documents over the course of like a year of working. And then ultimately we didn't go through with the business, but it's basically a step-by-step process of how to build the business from the ground up and then how to make it profitable once you've started. And a mutual friend of ours knows someone who might be interested in buying it. And it could be a big ticket price, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would use the money.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's hello? Oh, it's the pool ball in the next room over. Someone
Oh.
knocked a pool ball off the table. It's particularly of interest to me because I have never sold intellectual property before, and I had never considered the fact that I could be capable of coming up with something valuable enough for someone to buy that isn't a physical service or physical
Yeah.
product. You know what I mean? It's an interesting thought.
The
It's cool.
Yeah, the concept of um God, paid ads have beaten this out of me, but like the concept of like maybe my thoughts are worth something.
Yeah.
Like oh my God. That's why I was really beat up this morning because I was just like, oh my God, if like these because I was done with the CRO thing and I got that set up. So I was like, I've been wanting to do for that for a while, so I don't really see it as a distraction from the ads. And also I ran 5 different tests this week, so I
Yeah.
don't really say I'm distracted from ads. But um, I was thinking, I was like, I got to go back on the ad train today, and I was just like, man, nothing will beat the self confidence out of you, like spending 20 hours to make a fucking ad and then having it spend like 7 cents.
Yep. Yeah.
It's just like, man.
Yeah.
It was just like, maybe my thoughts are worthless. Maybe everything I think about is
But
just worthless.
some other thoughts that you have could be worth $50,000,
Yeah, that's
which would be great. Would be great.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess there's another lesson here that I could think about, which is that all real estate is my knowledge, right? So like when people pay me as their agent, they're paying for the knowledge in my head.
Right.
It's just that's me learning something and then applying that learning. Whereas this IP is like we just fucking came up with it out of nowhere. These are all original thoughts that we made and then put them on paper. And it's just like a different feeling to selling something that like a service, like this is a written document that we're selling. And I actually, when I was listening to the Hermosi like offers thing, and I wasn't able to fit it to real estate really that well. Um, I was thinking about, well, what's another business that I could apply like the downsell to and like try to make it work, right? Um, and I started thinking about like, okay, Space Coast Crew is like falling apart right now because the coup board fully took over and like forced everyone who knows what they're doing out, and like the team is dying, right? My anticipation is that none of the coaches will be here by Christmas, and like it'll be
Oh,
a total
that's
turn
quick.
maker. Yeah, I mean the Elizabeth is leaving. She's going to the West Coast to look
Oh,
for work.
wow.
Yeah, and I can't blame her because like the current board, they will not like I don't fucking know. It's a mess. But the TLDR is I think the team is gonna fall apart. And I feel really bad because I love the kids and I want them to get a good rowing experience, and this team isn't doing that for them. And so then I thought, how could I apply the Hermosi models to private coaching lessons for rowing? Because I mean, genuinely, the information that I have pertaining to rowing is as valuable as the stuff that we're selling to our thing because the information that I can give to a kid, it's not just knowing it, it's knowing how to teach it. And I know how to teach it to kids to teach them how to row. And that could be worth a college scholarship of $200,000. So, like, genuinely charging someone like 2 grand to A, prevent injury and B, increase their likelihood of a scholarship is valuable money, right? And so that was my woman in the red dress for the week that I didn't execute on, right? We've got the LC 500 over here, and we've got 45 different marketing styles for real estate over here. And then squarely in the middle, we have the Space Coast Crew or the private rowing coaching sessions that I'm not going to do, but thought about. And I was like, oh man, like I could write out courses and I could sell those on school.com. And then I could do in-person lessons for like an extra $500. And like, it was a really good exercise of applying all of the money models stuff conceptually, but not something that I'm actually going to do. But it is a good fallback to know that I could probably sell that information. Like, if AI takes every engineer's job and no one buys real estate anymore because the government has taken over the world, right, or something, at the very least, I can teach people how to row. Um, so yeah, that's all my life update or my business update. Hopefully, we get word back on the sale of our IP this week. To just
Yep.
know, well, we have to talk about what the percentage split or like flat rate fee is going to be moving forward. But in any case, I'm excited about the prospect. So, what life lessons have you learned this week, if any?
It's tough, man. I was thinking about this one, and on one hand, I want to say, like, try to not care
Okay.
because, like, this week at work was really, really painful. And if I just cared a lot less, it would have been a lot less painful.
Right.
And on the other side of that coin, although that's easier, what's and I was thinking about this aspect of it too this week was that it sucks it doesn't suck that I try to really care a lot, but it does put me in situations that are challenging because if I didn't care at all, then I I would just coast through and kind of do what I started doing, which was the prediction of like, oh, I'm just going to be here for a bit. I'm just going to coast and leave, right? And I could continue doing that. And but what bites me is like knowing that, like I will know I could do a little bit more, a little bit better, and that's over time. That's eating at me more and more.
Right.
Um, and so like this week I was like, I was thinking about I was like, I can't just like not care. Um, but I think I could take it less personally.
Hmm.
And so like I can still really care, but when, first shift doesn't get anything done,
Yeah.
I can take that less personally, right? And I can try to do my best. And also the framework of if this happened 1,000 times, how would you feel? That's really helped me this week.
Yeah.
Of like if this happened 1,000 times in a row, how would I feel? And like my first instinct was like quit this job. Right. Right. But I was like, okay, like if I couldn't quit, how would I feel about it? So then I thought about it from that framework a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I would probably still try to care about like the techs and the other people I work with, but I would just take the insult of first shift having done nothing less personally.
Right.
Um, and so I thought that was, I think, one life lesson that I can pull away from this. Um,
Well, and first shift isn't doing it as a personal attack against you. They're doing it, I'm assuming, as just a lazy way of coping with their own job, right? Like they're taking the easiest way out. I can only assume,
yeah.
right?
What really frustrates me is like there are some people on the team that like you meet those people in life that they're just never wrong. Like they always have something in their bag of like some excuse or like some reason,
Right.
and they can just so like they're just never wrong. It's always just someone else, right? And so I work with those people. And one life lesson that like I've learned before, but it just kind of like it's been on my mind and revisiting it, is like to just not engage with those conversations.
Right.
Like if someone starts like, you know, if I know for a fact that X person is a primary driver in why I have to work Friday second shift,
Mm-hmm.
then if X person has a conversation with me about their trials and tribulations through first shift and how everyone is just working against them, I'm just not going to engage with them
Yeah.
because I'm not willing to agree with them because that would be lying, and I just genuinely don't. And I'm like the more I've gone through business stuff, the worse I feel like I do at lying, because I like try to align my like and like I've never been like a great liar, and I've only like really lied or white lied to like get out of sticky situations with family. Right.
Yeah.
And so, but like the more I go through business, like even like the smaller stuff like that becomes harder and harder for me.
Right.
And so like I just choose to not engage with that. That was kind of like one lesson that I learned this week, was like to just not engage, not take it personally, just kind of go through the steps. Um, and like one lesson that like I just continue to learn this every week, is to like just try to keep your head above water and just try to make progress.
Right.
Like there was several times this week where I just like looked at the computer and I was like, I am not a software engineer. I'm not a website designer. I'm not a media buying agency. I'm not a product developer. I'm none of this. Like I went to school to learn how, you know, bridges can withstand force.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like and like there was times I looked at my computer, I'm like, I fucking suck at all this. But then there was like, you know what? But like everyone has started somewhere. Like these are learnable skills.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too stupid to learn it. I just haven't learned it yet.
Right.
And so like just going through that process and just like continuing to put one step in front of the other, or like I think I texted you this, but like this week has really felt like I'm just laying one brick at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Like on my path to success. Like it's
Right.
really just like one brick, one brick, one brick,
Right.
and just like continuing to do that. Um, and this week with the combined like work crap, it was just like a real like it was just a beating me down.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I had Wednesday off, and I'm glad that this weekend I didn't have to work, because it was a really nice way to like just completely forget about the work stuff,
Right.
and just work on the business stuff, which was nice. But I would say the biggest takeaway for me this week is not taking things too personally, trying to just trudge through and just keeping in mind that like, as long as you just continue to move forward and continue to push through these hard times, like you will eventually get there, even if you like really can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like
Right.
there is a solution to my problem. I just need to continue to push in order to find that.
Right. Well, and it's kind of like it's gonna take the time that it's gonna take, right?
Hmm.
And sucking is a part of the process.
Yeah.
It's just really difficult, I find, especially at work, when it's other people that bring you down as well. Like it's easy to say, like, oh, like, how do I say this? I don't like talking to people with a victimhood mentality, right?
Yeah. It's really annoying. And I can't contribute to the conversation because I don't want to agree with them.
Right.
But then I know if I disagree with them, I'm going to get caught up in this hour-long discussion that they're going to be completely unaligned with, and it's
Yeah.
a waste of my time.
There's actually a person like that at my work, and I will intentionally walk the long way around the cubicles to avoid this person in particular because I know that they will talk to me for a minimum of 35 minutes. And I know that the topic of the conversation is going to be complaining with no proposed solution. And that's not a productive conversation with me. So like some people are like, "Oh, do you walk the long way around to like avoid your boss's cube?" And I'm like, "No, I like conversations with my boss. They're constructive and they're short. I'm avoiding the other person that sits on that side of the row because they are not productive and they're very long." Um, but it sucks when you have to work with people like that on first shift who like have to give you an update on what's going on and why it doesn't work. Um, and then what sucks even more is that you can't go to your management and say like, "Oh, hey, here's the situation. Here's someone who didn't fucking do anything about it, and then here's me who actually did something about it. You should pay me more because they don't care and they're not going to pay you."
No, they're not gonna care, they're not gonna pay more.
Right.
And even so, like, as soon as I do that,
They'll
like,
want more from you.
they'll A, want more from me, but then B, like, as soon as I do that, then management gets involved with our team, and then all these people with a victimhood mentality get an introduction of, like, management force on them,
Right.
which has never helped anything in the history of this program.
Yeah. Well, and then if they find out that you did it, now the whole it's always someone else, it's never me. Now it's always Sander, never me.
Right,
And
and
then
now
it's
it's
like,
magnifies, and
right,
now it's like, problem times 10.
right,
Um, and so, that's been one of my lessons this week. And it's just been a grind this week. It's been frustrating to get through work. I'm hoping that that at least the website I built out will convert well.
right,
I feel like it should. It's the same thing with more, right?
right,
So it's like I don't see why I don't see why it wouldn't at least convert the same.
right,
Especially since like all the links worked and everything's linked up and it's all fluid, right? There's no like traffic issues
right.
in terms of like trying to check out with this new product.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, my biggest lessons have been to try to not take it too personally
Hmm.
and to just continue working on the things that I know I need to work on.
Yeah.
And eventually I'll get there.
It's easier for me in my job if someone else drops the ball because I work my hours and then I go home. I'm not approved for overtime. I'm not going to do overtime. Right.
Yeah.
And if I want to use my PTO and leave an hour early, that's exactly what I'm going to do. But then it's an issue of, oh, why isn't this done yet? And it's like, it's going to take the time it's going to take. Jeremy didn't get it to, or not. I actually work with the Jeremy. I'm using this as an example, not you. Like John Doe, it didn't get this fucking thing to me until Tuesday, and it's going to take me 3 days to do it. So it's going to be done Friday at the soonest, but probably Monday, right?
Mhm.
And if you wanted it to get done faster, then John Doe should have gotten it to me on Monday, right? And it's going to take the time it's going to take. I only have the working hours in the week, right? But for you, it sucks more because people will then call you and be like, "Can you come in after hours or come in on Saturday?"
Yeah.
And like that is something that I do not fuck with, right? Especially if it's as a result of other, like if I myself have signed up for something and I'm under delivering and I need to work extra hours to make up for it, I will take on that burden. I understand. Right. It's
Yeah.
my promises that I need to deliver on, so I'm spending more of my time. But if it's other people fucking up, that would enrage me to my core. And
Yeah.
I understand
It's
your
other
position.
people screwing up, and then I get the short end of the stick.
Exactly.
And
How
that
often?
happened every day this week, and then
Right.
they tried to call me in for a weekend shift, and then it's like
How often do you leave someone else with the short end of the stick?
I try to not do that actively. I try not to do that. There are times when I genuinely don't know how to solve a problem and I can't get through it and I need help. That happens
Right.
because I've only been on this job for 2 years and I've never been through a flow. I've never been through a launch, and there are several things that I don't know or understand. I still try to do as much as I can and leave the best time that I can. And it's like it was so funny to me. I had to do a hot alteration on like Tuesday,
Okay.
and do something on the floor, change the work. And I had to call someone up at 11. They weren't happy to really us, so we they did it for me. But I had Wednesday off and then I come back Thursday and they're like, man, like your tie-ins are too long. Like, it's complicated. Like if you have to do an alteration, like just save it. Like don't contact us. Don't contact NASA. Like essentially they were like, just like, don't do what you're doing. Like make it like this was too long. It was too complicated to follow. And like, there was a few people who said that to me and I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, fuck you. I'm just going to write like a basic tie-in email.
Right.
And so then on Thursday night, I saw the Wednesday night tie-in from another coworker. It was like 4 lines long, and no one had a problem with that tie-in. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do the same thing. And so I wrote a super simple, like simple sentence tie-in. I didn't do any alterations that night. Did nothing, right? Just super simple tie-in. And then Friday I get it, and they're like, it was confusing. And it's like that's when I called up at 2:30 p.m. on Friday, and I was livid. I was like, you find everything to complain about. I cannot do something that you don't complain about. I try to inform you, you complain that it's too lengthy. I try to make it simple for you, you complain that it's unclear. I try to make it clear for you, you complain that some other factor in the universe has inhibited your ability to use the brain, right? And it's like I can't win.
Yeah.
Like and like I'm getting frustrated about it now, but it's like just trying to take that not personally and be like, just like, damn sucks. And like, just to like move on. But what's really hard is like, I can do that and try to take it not personally, but it becomes really personal at 2 in the morning on a Friday.
Yeah. What's crazy is that I have worked closely with you for many years now, and I so rarely find myself at the end of a Sander email going, huh, I wonder what he means by that. So often I get to the end of the Sander email and I go, this could have been 30% shorter and I would have gotten the same information. Like, you're very thorough, right?
Yeah.
It's rare that I'm like, I wish you had written more to clarify. Usually it's like, oh, he's mistaken. He means Tuesday, not Thursday. Let me double check. And then I text you and you respond immediately and it's not an issue. So it's like, if you need clarification, just call you. You always pick up. But it's rare that that happens even then because most of it is thorough, right?
Yeah.
So I know that if someone is reading an email from you at work and they're like, it's unclear, A, you're a phone call away, and B, it's not unclear. You just
Yeah.
want an excuse to not do your job.
Literally in my email on Tuesday night, literally on the bottom of the email, I said, I recognize that a lot of this email, I recognize that there's a lot in this email. I am on PTO tomorrow, but if you have any questions, I will be available after 12 o'clock to answer them.
Right.
Via my phone number. My phone number is available on Teams. Everyone in the team has my phone number. You can call me. No one called me. No one texted me.
Right.
They because it's decided to not do it.
Because if they call you and get the answer, then they can do the work and there's nothing stopping them, right?
Yeah.
What's crazy is that management is telling you if it's 11 p.m. and you're on second shift and you have to do an alteration, literally don't do your job. Permission to not do your job, right?
Yep.
So you on second shift have more reason to tell first shift that you weren't able to get something done than first shift has to tell you because there's no holds barred on first shift.
Nope. They got the whole team supporting them. They got NASA supporting them. They got everybody on station.
Right.
For me, it's I get one person for half of my shift, and then I have nobody.
Right.
And it's like I'm still able to get more done. Like how is this possible?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, but just trying to not take that too personally, I think has been a lesson learned for me this week.
Yeah.
And just continuing to push through because there are waves, it goes up and down. You get and it's like, for example, like I was able to scale up ads a lot, and so I'm like getting a lot more revenue flowing and stuff like that. But to me, it's like it's kind of weird because I'm happy to be seeing more revenue flow, but my sights are so far into the distance that like almost like the wins are just like, okay, cool, this was a win, let's move on. Like I very much operationalized the structure that I go through in the business process, which is good and bad. It's good because I don't get emotionally invested or as emotionally invested into different tests and ads, right? It's just kind of like, well, this sucks. But, but it's also like the wins are also dulled down, right? So it's like, oh, cool, like I made some good money today. Sick. And then it's just like, yeah, I'm gonna go on. But it's kind of like all muddled down to like one base level, right? So it kind of works in both directions, with pros and cons. But yeah, that pretty much sums up my lessons learned from this week, and just trying to continue to push and to grow, and to scale the business. Really, really trying to hone in on a winning ad. I think that if I really do believe that if I got a winning ad that really hit and I was really able to scale up, when I was actually able to comfortably quit my job, that will be a win that won't be muddled down for me.
Yeah.
That'll be a win of like, heck yeah,
Real
I did
progress.
it.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that as, continue to try and grow and scale. So
Yeah.
that's what I got. What do you got
Cool.
for us?
Mine is summarized with a Hormozy quote because I had a similar week of like just dregs. Like,
Hmm.
it was, dude, like fucking waking up. Like I said earlier, it's like I wake up in the morning, and usually I'm tired, but it's fine. I go to work where I need caffeine to stay awake because most of the work isn't very engaging. Um, and then as soon as that's done, I go to the gym and then I use the energy that I don't have to lift weights or do cardio. I actually did get a fun cardio workout in this weekend. Grace and I went to the gym and I didn't know how long her workout was going to be. I was going to do legs. And so I was like, I'm just going to like start on the Stairmaster, um, just to warm up. And then after 10 minutes, she was changed and like doing her workout. And then I was like, oh, I don't know how long this workout is going to be, but that's kind of like the perfect workout to do on Stairmaster for me because some of my favorite rowing workouts to do and to teach is you start rowing and then you don't stop until the coach says so. And you don't know how long it's going to be. It's a great way to like build mental toughness, right? And I haven't done a workout like that in a long time. So I was like, I'm just going to go. I'm just going to do it until I'm going to tell Grace to give me a 5 minute heads up so I can do my cool down. And then I'm just going to do it until it's done. Right. And I really enjoyed that workout. But then I finished that workout and I'm exhausted. So I go home and I shower and I eat. And now my second work day starts. And transitioning from I'm sitting on the couch, like getting ready to tie my shoes to go back out. Simba always sits on the couch and helps me tie my shoes. He's a good boy. But like it would be so easy to just keep like petting the cat and then like going to sleep on the couch like right then and there. And getting back out again has been really difficult this week. Especially following the Hormozy live stream, funny enough. Because on the one hand, watching his live stream was like really awesome because it's providing a ton of value. It's going to hit my goals. There's other people who are in the same position as me who are also learning and like entrepreneurs all help each other. Like it felt like a camaraderie type of event. But on the other hand, he just accomplished something that's never been done before or even close to being done before. And he did it in a charitable fashion. So it's not just selling more books than anyone else ever before, but it's selling more books and not making a ton of money doing it, but sharing the wealth with the entrepreneurial community, right? So
Hmm.
it was like wholesome and awesome in like a biblical sense of like having awe, right?
Hmm.
Um and that has like it just like felt so far away for me. Like it felt like I'm 40 years from ever being able to hit that point. Um which kind of sucked. It kind of give me like it's kinda like he's sharing what the view from the top of the mountain is like, which is A, awesome to see, but then B, I'm realizing how much further I have to climb and how tired I already am, which sucks as well. Um, but the Hormozy quote that has kept me going is, "I will not lose if I do not quit."
Hmm.
Right? So it's like
Yep.
what has helped me so far is I feel like I am unfocused in doing a lot of advertisement methods to try to get my name out there to find people who want to do real estate, um, or need help doing real estate, I should say. Um, but and like none of that is working. It's probably because I'm doing too many things and not focusing on one of them enough, and that's fine. I'm cognizant of that. But what I can take solace in is the fact that although I haven't closed any deals recently, the clients and customers that I have had, I have done a great job with. Like, even these people from another state who are like looking on the West Coast and then looking to do an offer here, I don't think there's anything I could do better for them. I think I'm doing everything that I can to be a good agent for them. Same with the person who wants to do their investing. Like they each have personal things in their lives that are stopping them from doing that, and that's okay. I can't help you with your medical challenges. I can't help you with your family matters. I'm here to help you with real estate as soon as you need that help, right? So I'm taking solace in the fact that when I have the opportunity to work with someone who needs help, I do help them and I do a good job. I just need to find more people that need help. And that this is the point. Do you remember when we were doing drop shipping like 2 years ago where we were like, oh, this is the point where people quit? Like it's this slide right here that
Hmm.
everyone stops, right? I'm at that point with real estate right now. And I know that because my friend, our karting friend, Tristan, is quitting real estate.
Hmm.
It's just not clicking with him. And I I don't know how much of a factor it is that it's not clicking with him or that the I'm trying a lot of different things and nothing is working, is catching up. I don't know what the deal is. I'm going to choose the version that suits me best, which is other people are quitting because they're doing the same shit that I'm doing and nothing is working. And so they're pivoting to something else, right?
Mhm.
And this is the point where I need to stay the course and continue doing it, because if I don't quit, then I won't lose.
Yeah.
But this is the chapter that sucks. And so
Yeah.
I have tied my shoes every day, and I've gone back out to work again every day. And when Grace gets tired and needs to go to sleep, I'll drive her home, or we'll take separate cars so she can go to sleep. And then I go back out and keep working. Um, so I'm doing it, and I know that it will pay off eventually. It just is going to take more days of being tired and getting back
Yeah.
on the saddle when I don't want to. But there's one thing that has helped me recently, which is I will listen to that. I will listen to the LC 500 at Redline when I'm tying my shoes with Simba, and then I'm ready to go again. So that that is my life update.
Yeah.
That's
Very
what I have
cool.
this week. Yeah,
Awesome. Well, that concludes my updates.
cool. I have a dial-in quote,
Yeah.
which is it's relevant to the workout that I did this week, but also where we're each at in our businesses. I think, at least me in particular, where
Cool.
it's like I'm doing the things that I feel should be working, and they're not working. I just need to do them for longer, and I don't know how long. And a lot of people are giving up, and
Yeah.
instead of staying the course. And so the quote is a Hermosi quote. Many people could hold their breaths for 60 seconds, but would give up at 30 seconds if they didn't know when it would end. And I feel like I'm at 30 seconds right now. I just don't
Yeah.
know when the 60-second mark is. But that's all I got.
Fair enough. Cool. Well, thank you for tuning in for episode 74. We will be back next week with another podcast.
Yep.
And hope you have a good one and be well.